done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless. Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm feeling fearless. Exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hanging in the balance. Not the life I want to live, I want to take it all. Standing tall, fear I weighed the person you are. Oh, break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless. Fearless.
Hello. Hello. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. If you can call it happy since it's Monday, but hello. Hi guys. Hello. How is everyone? All right. All right. All right. Let me see who's here. Let me see who's here. I do know that some of you are sick apparently from what I saw in Discord. I'm very sorry about that. There we go. Yep, I knew it. Marky, how are you feeling, Marky? I know you're ill too, Marky. I know Fox Emblem's ill. Marky is ill. Uh, it's sick. Careful. He right, Fox Emblem. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Okay. I mainly am doing ibuprofen. I get sick a lot for some reason. Well, I used to get sick all the time because I was a teacher, but I don't know why recently I have. But anyway, I'm okay. I'll be fine. So let's see here. Who do we got here? We got hello Soup Cheese. Hello Soup Cheese. Hello Druzilla. Matt Sai guy. Hello. Sammy Lammy, hey, Sammy Lammy finally has a chance to be here. I know you've been super busy, Sammy Lammy. Good to see you. Hello, Meowzord. Meowzord, that looks like how the Dutch pronounce it. Anyway, I don't know how it's spelled in Dutch, but anyway, maybe you probably just made it up. I'm guessing. I don't know, but okay. Uh, no, Drizzle. So yeah, I postponed the thing with Punk Apostle partially because of my cold, but also because I want to work some other things out. But we'll do it eventually. Hello, SoCal. Dolly Boy, hello, Dolly Boy, okay? Um, who else am I missing here? AMA, hello, AMA. Oh, I like the little dog being petted, okay? Hello, Sir Bartholomew, okay? Um, but just I sick of everything in general, like a lot of people probably. I get it, Dolly Boy. Hello, bruh moment. Okay, guys. So all right, so I'm not that bad. I just have like a little cold. I don't feel that sick. I just have my nose is a little stuffy, but really it's not that big of a deal. I do know a lot of you that are sick, and a lot of you are sicker than I am, like much sicker than I am. But you know, it's the season, yay! So we're gonna start off today. First of all, YouTube still in its infinite wisdom won't let me I'm glad, Marky. I'm glad you're getting over it. YouTube, in its infinite wisdom, still won't let me. Well, we all know that, Meowzord. You are mentally sick. I'm kidding. I know, but yes, I know we're all mentally sick because of uh, Drusilla. You're not wrong. You're not. You're not wrong, man. Drusilla. I am a baby when it comes to being sick. Okay, right, Drusilla. Um, okay. We are okay. So what was I gonna say? Oh, yes, I know, right, SoCal? Anyway, yeah, no excuse to be sick as a teacher anymore because you can just teach them from home. Anyway, okay, so, we, few things here. That's insane, Matt Saga. That reminds me of what the Nazis did to the Jews. Home Secretary planning to take jewelry from asylum seekers. Insane. I have not seen it. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. I have not seen it, AMA. So, because YouTube still won't let me put the correct things down for Super Chat, I guess there's other people having the same issue all over the internet. It won't update accurately, but we have a 10 super chat goal today. All right, one super chat uh, gets you the jester hat. Three will get you will get us the collar. Five will get the makeup. Now, I am not going to do a jester after dark stream just because of being ill and stuff. However, if we every dollar we get after 5 super chats will be 1 more minute that I stream, up to an hour. Um, so if we get hey, Macy, I got you too, Macy. I have a bit of a cold too. I understand you. Um, hey, Stacy. Okay. Uh, so if we so after we get those 5, every dollar will give us an extra minute, and then so I'm planning to stream for 2 hours. So 3:45, but every dollar we get after 5 super chats, okay, we'll add another minute. All right. Um, and so hello, Stacy. Hello, Kimberly. God, a lot of folks are in here today. So we're gonna start today. We have a few things to talk about as always. I'm gonna start with something a bit lighter. Mainly partially because we've been doing there's been a lot of dark stuff going on, and also I know some of you are sick. So we are going to talk about something okay, that is a bit more a bit nicer. Let's put it that way. Okay, weirdomorphous blob. So I'll put up the scene here. So we're going to talk a little bit at the beginning here about ancient Egyptian mythology. And there's a method to my madness. There's a reason we're doing this. It'll be kind of fun. Me just telling you some stories. But it has a point. So let me make sure that everything is set up right here. Um, okay. So when we are looking at another culture, okay, another culture's beliefs, in anthropology, we haven't done anthropology for a while here. Um, in anthropology, there are two sort of main ways you can approach looking at another culture's beliefs. Okay, the first one it's called the emic versus the etic. Okay, I have it written down here, but below ancient Egyptian mythology, emic versus etic. The emic perspective, when you're looking at another culture, is where you look at it from an an insider's point of view. So you can kind of remember this because there's me in the middle of the word. Me, like me, like from a person's perspective, like your own perspective within the culture, if you're in that culture. So, like for example, if we're looking at a I don't know, Christian, like the culture of Christianity, okay? If we were to ask a Christian about their belief in Christianity, that would be an emic perspective, okay? Um, oh, bruh moment, right? Right, you know who that is, Akhenaten? Is that who you're referring to, bruh moment? Amazing, okay. Well, and other things later, without giving anything away. Thank you so much, bruh moment, for that contribution. I'll put on the jester hat immediately. So that's the emic perspective, when you try to understand a culture from the perspective of someone inside of that culture, okay? Oh. Alright. Thank you, bruh moment, okay? Um, now the other way you can look at a culture is from the etic perspective, which is from an outsider's perspective. Or you can be part of that culture, but you have to sort of separate yourself from it and look at it from a sort of a third party point of view, a neutral point of view. One might even say a scientific point of view, even though, in studying culture, science is sort of it's not really like hard science. Um, emic versus etic, okay? And both are important for different things. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through some ancient Egyptian mythology, and we're first going to look at it from an emic perspective. And basically, from an emic perspective, I'm just explaining to you what the Egyptians believe. And sort of, there's a lot in ancient Egyptian religion, so we're not going to go through everything. I'm just going to go through some key points. Exactly, Dolly boy. Yeah, right. It's super interesting. Dolly Boy says, always find it fascinating looking at ancient mythology, just seeing how they tried to come to terms with concepts without having the tools. Exactly. And yeah, okay. So I'm going to go, again, this is going to be kind of relaxing. I'm going to tell you some stories, or sort of semi stories here. Um, so let's look at it from an emic perspective, shall we? Um, yes, they are, bro. Moment. Emic versus Edic. You can look it up. It's kind of like a specialist thing. Most anthropologists learn about this in undergraduate, but it's not really used by any other group. The emic versus the etic. Okay. All right. So here we go. So before we start here, every sort of civilization culture on Earth, every culture has a creation story. Okay. Um, some people Now, here's a question for you. Some anthropologists will call these creation myths. Which do you think the term creation myth is more of an emic or an etic perspective? Exactly, bro moment. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point, bro moment. Like sociology, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So do you think like even the word creation myth, is that more of an emic or an etic way of looking at a creation story? Anyone want to take a guess? Correct, weird amorphous blob, because you're automatically kind of making a judgment from like an outsider's perspective that it's a myth, right? Okay, so creation story is more of an emic way of framing this. Um, oh, I know, Dolly boy. Don't even get me started on that, okay? Or people who say they're made by aliens or whatever. Okay, all right. So here's the story I have for you. Let me make sure I got everything up I need here so I can actually tell you the story. Make sure I don't miss anything. Okay, so here we go. All right. Um, so here on my page, here on the screen here, I've put up some good images. I love ancient Egyptian art. I don't know why. It's pretty. It's simple, but it's colorful, and I think it looks cool. Okay, so here on my screen, let us begin. All right, let me tell you the creation story. So this is what the Egyptians believed. Okay, so in the beginning, nothing existed but the deep, dark waters of none. There was no land. All right. No, oop, I gotta move. I got my little script here that I wrote. Uh, make sure I don't miss anything. Where to put this? Okay. Um, where'd it go? There it is. Yeah, there it is. Okay. In the beginning, there was. Forgive me. There was nothing. Nothing existed but the deep, dark waters of none. There was no land and no sky, no gods, no people, no light, and no time. Okay. Only the endless, motionless waters. But deep within the still waters of none, there floated a perfect egg. And trapped within that perfect egg was a solitary spark of life. Suddenly, inexplicably, the egg cracked open. Life broke free of its confining shell, and with a surge of energy, a mound rose out of the waters. Seated on that mound was the god Atum. Atum had created himself. He now shone as the sun, bringing light to his newborn world. And here on this image, you have a depiction of Atum. Okay. Lonely on his mount, by the way, for those who do know some ancient Egyptian, another name for Atum is Ra. Later, the name kind of changed. Okay. Lonely on his mound, Atum set about creating the living. He grasped his I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it as it is. He grasped his penis, and from the fluids of his body sprang twin children: Shu, the god of dry air, and Tefnut, the goddess of moisture. Atum and Shu and Tefnut lived together, happy and safe on their mound in the midst of the waters of none, until one dreadful day, Shu and Tefnut fell into the waters. Shrieking, they disappeared from view. Okay. Now, I will say that part about the penis, there are other stories that say that he spit. Um, I right for a moment. So there are different interpretations of this from different Egyptian texts. Some say that he spat. Okay, as a matter of fact, the word I think either shu or tefnit means like an expulsion or like a spitting or an ejaculation. Okay, so there we go. Okay, all right, let's go on. So here are two portrayals by the ancient Egyptians of Shu and Tefnut. As a matter of fact, folks, it is thought that the word Shu, okay, uh, um, the word Shu is like an onomatopoeia for like sneezing or coughing or spitting, like Shu, because they were expelled from Ra's body. Okay, so here you have the left. Here you have Shu. And here you have Tefnut. Okay. All right. And one was the god of wetness or moisture, and the other god was dryness and air. Okay. All right. So that's who we have so far. Let's continue. Okay. So they have fled now. Shu and Tefnut have fallen into the darkness. Okay. Blinded by his tears, because he was very sad by this, Atum called upon his eye. So he had two eyes, and he took out one of those eyes, right? And he sent out this eye, which is called Wadjet, to search for the lost twins, Shu and Tefnut. Okay, I should go to this next page here. Maybe you can see the eye. Nope, not yet. Okay. I'm not doing very well right now. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay. And the eye of Atum did eventually find Shu and Tefnut in the deep depths of the waters of none. As she restored them to their father, Atum's tears of grief turned to tears of joy. These tears were copious. They formed rivers, streams, and lakes. They fell into the ground, and from these tears sprang men and women. So began a glorious age when humans and gods lived in harmony on the mound in the midst of the waters of none. Shu and Tefnut loved each other. as husband and wife. And Tefnut bore her brother's children. Yes, brother, because they're gods. It doesn't. There's not really anything that's going on. There's nothing really. No such thing as incest in this case. Okay. And Tefnut bore. Um. Oh, all right. Tefnut bore her brother's children. Geb. So the two got the two children that they gave birth to. Here we go. Okay. Tefnut bore her brother's children. Geb, the handsome god of the earth, and Nut, the beautiful goddess of the sky. Geb lay down and became the fertile land. He bore the fields and the marshes and the great river Nile. Grain sprouted from his ribs and plants grew from his back. His laughter brought earthquakes and his anger brought famine. Nut loved her brother and happily bore his children. The glittering stars that decorate the dark night sky, those were her children. Okay, so if you look here at this image, this is Nut. This is actually a classic image in ancient Egypt. Nut is the big blue god that is arching over right here. You can see the stars, which are her children. On the ground below her is Geb, all right, her brother. And then I'll tell you about the guy in the center here. Geb and Nut, so the earth and the sky, fell deeply, passionately in love. They were so entwined that there was no space between them. The sky was constantly, how do I say this, kissing the earth, all right? Nothing else could exist because they were so close together all the time that there was no room for anything to exist on earth. No room for cities, peoples, or even a pyramid. They could not fit anything because they were always very close together, if you know what I mean. All right. Um, okay. Their father, so if we remember Shu and Teflit, I know it gets confusing, but you don't need to worry too much. So Shu, who's the guy who's in charge of air, actually moisture and things like that, is standing in between them. Okay, so he's their father. Their father, Shu, the god of air, saw this and said, "Not on my watch." All right, he's like, "No, we need room for things. Stop copulating with each other." He forced himself between his children, pushed the sky, pushed Nut high above, and held her there for all eternity. He became the air we breathe, forever separating earth from sky. So he actually keeps them separated, okay? And this is why to this day the sky never touches the earth. But Nut, ever lawning, scattered her children, the stars, across her body, and every night she swallows the sun, only to give birth to it again the next morning. Some ancient Egyptians said that was because she was angry that she was separated from her brother. Others say that she's just protecting the sun when it gets dark out. There's other interpretations. Okay. All right. So I'm going to see what um okay, I'm going to see what comments you guys have, all right? Yeah, they love talking about it's interesting folks. I'm reading all your comments. You're right, they were the original furries. Okay. Yeah, you guys notice how right, Fox, like you notice folks that they're all there's a lot of copulation and stuff going on. So yeah, for a moment it's complicated, all right? You'll see what I mean, all right? I'm trying to see what else you okay. Okay, I've read your comments. I'm not gonna say much here, but let's continue, shall we? All right. So now separated from Geb, Nut had children, but there was a prophecy that they would one day overthrow him. Okay, he had children. He cursed Geb so that she could not give birth on any day of the year. So I'll go back here. So Newt got angry because he heard that one day her children, which are the stars, okay, would overthrow him. So he got very angry and he put a curse on her, his lover. that basically said she could no longer give birth on any day of the year. He specifically used that language, and this is where loopholes come in, right? So a different god, okay, Thoth, um, felt sorry for her. This is Thoth right here, who I think is cool. He has an ibis head. All right. He played a game of dice with the moon god and won a tiny sliver, whose name was La, okay, and won a tiny sliver of the moon's light. From this light, he crafted 5 extra days attached them to the end of the 360 day year. These were called the epagomenal days, or days that the gods view as the ancient Egyptians viewed as outside of time. So he's like, okay, well, here's an exception. I'll just create 5 days. Since Noon said she can't give birth any of the 360 days of the year, I'll create 5 separate secret days so that she can still give birth on those days. All right. And she did. For every one of those 5 days, she gave birth to a different child. And those 5 children were as follows: Osiris, Horus, the elder, okay, Set, and Isis. Oh, there's one more. I'm sorry. Um, Nephthys. Okay. So those are the 5 children of Geb and Nut. All right. Okay. Here you go. Here's this another little thing to kind of explain, because I know it gets a little confusing here. Okay. Yeah, it is. You're right, Mithril. Um, Yeah, exactly, Fox Emblem. I will say, Fox Emblem, you know your stuff. You have to understand a lot of interpretations of these things changed throughout Egyptian history. Egypt lasted thousands of years. So I'm kind of doing a more general understanding of these things, but there are different interpretations depending on the era and things like that. Okay. So here, this is basically the genealogy we have so far. You got Adam, who created Shu and Tefnut because he was lonely. They produced Geb and Nut, who then produced Isis, Osiris, Nephthys, Seth, and Horus the Elder. Okay. Regardless, let's get to the next part. Okay. Yes. So you're gonna see Soup Cheese. I don't know if he is a. I don't know if he is that chill there, Soup Cheese. Okay, you'll see what I mean. All right. So here we go. The Battle of the Gods. Let's go into another little story here, okay? All right. So Osiris, who was one of those children, okay, was the first born son to Nup and Geb, all right? He was given the right to govern the land of Egypt. He married his sister Isis. Um, not the organization. Okay, anyway, their brother Set, though, however, was known as a bit of a rebel. He was jealous of the success of King Osiris of Egypt, and set about plotting his assassination. So Osiris's brother Set is planning to assassinate him so he can take over the kingship. Set constructed a very fine chest. Some people say it's a coffin, regardless, a fine chest. And at a banquet, the original Red Wedding, in my opinion, he tricked Osiris into lying in the box, which he quickly nailed down and threw into the Nile. When Isis heard of her husband's death, she set about looking for the chest and the body. She set about looking for the chest and the body of Osiris, eventually hearing that it had washed ashore. When she arrived in the delta of the Nile River, Isis opened the coffin, and she and her sister Nephthys tried to revive the body. Egyptian legend tells that the goddesses breathed life and warmth into the body of Osiris, enough for him to be able to impregnate Isis with their own son Horus. This is not the same as the other Horus. It doesn't matter, okay? Who she hid for protection in the northern papyrus marshes until he was grown. By the way, if anyone knows the story, I'm sorry. I'll talk about that later. That is an etic perspective, not an emic perspective, what I'm about to say about Moses. Okay. All right. So Set kills Osiris. Isis revives Osiris. Okay. Just long enough, by the way, for him to impregnate her. Meanwhile, Set was still worried that Osiris would return again to disrupt his assumed rule of Egypt. He found the embalmed body and had it cut into 14 pieces. So he cut up Osiris's body, which he scattered throughout Egypt. Once more, Isis set out to find the scattered parts of her husband's body, sailing up and down the Nile attended by the birds and beasts who loved her. Eventually, Isis found all but one of the parts of Osiris's body. Guys, this is the ancient Egyptians. Which part of the body do you think miraculously survived? That he couldn't find? I think we know. I think we know, right? We know from based on what we read so far. I suspect we all know which part of the body that, because the Egyptians seem to have a bit of an obsession with this. Not that I blame them. Yeah, you know weird amorphous blob. Okay, his penis. They couldn't find his penis. I'll just say it. They couldn't find his penis. All right, God. All right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, probably not that either, Maisie. Right. Okay. Okay. So anyway. Um. So okay. Anyway. Eventually, Isis found all but one part of Osiris's body. The goddess pretended to bury each part of her husband's body where she found it, explaining the many shrines to Osiris found throughout Egypt. What she actually did was to take the body to Horus, who, with the help of Thoth and Anubis, who's a different god, okay, reassembled it, except for his penis. I don't know why I'm worried about saying that word. Which had been eaten by a large fish. Okay, that makes sense. I like, of course, how they had to add that it was a large fish, right? Because apparently the gods are a bit worried about size. Okay. Uh, Horus spent the rest of his life avenging his father Osiris in pursuit of his enemy Set. There were many battles fought. Seth took many guises, especially the crocodile and the hippopotamus. He could call up violent storms at will and had a great voice like thunder. Isn't that so badass? Okay. One of these battles, uh, one of these battles was fought at Elephantine Island, Aswan, where when Set took over the form of a red hippopotamus and used his storms as a terrible weapon. This is so badass. Someone needs to do an animation of these gods fighting each other with storms and like nature and things like that. Anyway, in the last battle, Set was overcome by the young god Horus, who killed him with a harpoon, avenging the humiliation of his father and bringing peace at last to his mother. Horus became the king of Egypt and the pharaoh of Egypt. So the king, the like living human form of the pharaoh of Egypt. Okay. All right. Okay. So last thing here. That is that story. Okay. I know I'm telling these in parts. So that's the story of Osiris. You'll notice the image of Osiris here, which I love. He's wrapped in funerary cloth. And he's green because he's dead, and they took the different parts of his body and they put him back together, so he's dead. And after he died, they could not. His body was too badly decayed and stuff. They couldn't bring him back to the physical world, so he reigns over the dead now. He's the god of the dead or the afterlife. Okay, and this is an image of him. Okay. And then here's Set on the right, which, by the way, well, I'll get into that in a bit here. Okay, here's Set on the right. Exactly, Dolly Boy. Okay, so let's go on here. By the way, another thing I forgot to mention, people have probably seen this before, the Eye of Horus. So there's one mythology that says that when Set and Horus were fighting, Set actually gouged out one of Horus's eyes. It grew back, but this eye still remained separate, and it became the Eye of Horus, which, because it was from a god, became like its own entity, and that's the Eye of Horus right there. Okay, which became sort of a symbol of fertility and health and things like that. And you guys have probably seen the Eye of Horus. People have tattoos of it and things like that. That's the image you see right here. Okay. Okay. And here's Isis, just to let you know, who's a really cool character. Yeah, here's Isis. All right. And there's Horus. I forgot to show you guys. This is Horus, so their son, who is wearing in this image the crowns of Egypt. And it was thought that the pharaohs were actually the embodiment of Horus on earth. Okay. All right. So last thing here, last bit here. So this is what the Egyptians believed when it came to an afterlife. All right. All right. Here we go. Uh, so when you died, right? First of all, the Egyptians had a very complicated idea of a soul. There were all these different aspects of what was inside of a soul. Okay, it's really interesting. I'm not going to go into it, but just know. So, your ka or your soul, basically, what happened when you died was this: you would go down to heaven, or not into heaven. You'd go down into the sort of afterlife. Uh, and you would be brought and here is actually and this is from 3,000 years ago. This is an image from on papyrus from the ancient Egyptians. So on the left here, you see someone being brought into the afterlife by Anubis, okay, who's sort of the god of the dead, the god of like the dead and things like that. Okay, um, and you'd first be brought well, first of all, I'm sorry. First, you'd be put before a bunch of gods. You can see them here at the top, and you'd be asked to name all of the gods. So you'd better know the name of the gods if you're going to go to the afterlife. Then you'd be brought to this. Anubis would bring you to this what is it called? A balance. Why can't I think of the word for this? Scale. Okay, you can see here's a scale. Now, this scale they'd take your heart and they'd put it there, your heart or your soul, and they'd put it on one side of the scale. All right. Then they would take a feather called the feather of justice or righteousness, and they'd put it on the other side of the scale. If your heart was heavier than the feather, or your soul was heavier than the feather, your soul would immediately be thrown to this creature standing here, which on this page I'll show you. Oh, this guy. So if your heart was heavier, your soul was heavier than the feather, it'd be fed to this creature right here called Amit, the devourer of the dead, and your existence would cease forever. No afterlife for you. You're just gone, gone. No more of you. You have been sentenced to oblivion. Okay. Now, if it was lighter than the feather or weighed the same as the feather, you would then go on to the next step. And this is kind of like sin, right? Like if you'd be punished for sin or not if you had sinned a lot, okay, and then Thoth would record what happened, and that, by the way, this is called the scale of Ma'at, all right? Then you'd be taken to the next stage, which is you'd be put in front of Horus, who would make the final decision about whether or not to accept you into the afterlife. All right. Mainly based off what the scale of Ma'at had shown. Then if you got past all that, you'd be ferried away into Eru, which is called the land of green and reeds. And here's a depiction of it. It's like a paradise of greenery, of lush vegetation, of wine and beer, and paradise, what an ancient person might view paradise as. Okay. You notice they're still working, they're still harvesting the fields and things like that, but it's like an abundancy. They never have to worry about famines. Um, and it's just a life of joy, celebration, and glory. Okay. And then you live on forever, essentially, in that life, as far as they knew. They also said that maybe after that you die again and there's a different stage, but that is sort of the general notion. Okay. Now, I'm going to pause there. What do we got here in chat? Um, yeah. Okay. I'm trying to see if we got anything in chat here. The Eye of Horus. Yep, 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 yep. Cheeks. Yep. I wonder they must have had different sects of the mythology since we always talk about it as a monolith. Yeah, absolutely. They did, a Dolly Boy, which is why what I'm doing is kind of inaccurate, right? Because there are different sort of interpretations of this amongst the ancient Egyptians. Okay. So, all right. We did that. Now, a few things here. So that is sort of the insider. Again, there's a lot more to the mythology, obviously. I gave you a very basic on some of the things here, some of the main stories. So that is an emic perspective, right? That is an emic perspective. That is an insider's perspective of this. And honestly, guys, it's beautiful. Isn't that really cool? And folks, people at the time believe this. That is kind of a really cool idea of the world to have, isn't it? Like they're kind of cool stories. And yeah, and inform their worldviews. Um, Also, it's just nice to think that And by the way to get to the afterlife, I forgot to mention this. You'd also have to make sure you did all the right rituals and that the body was properly embalmed and mummified. Because if you didn't preserve the body, you would also lose the soul. Okay. So that was why the ancient Egyptians thought it was so important to preserve the bodies of the dead. Um, Okay, they thought they needed to in order to ensure that the soul could make it to the afterlife, which is why you always see Egyptian mummies everywhere, and that is why the pharaohs especially made sure that they were well preserved because they wanted to make sure they definitely made it to the afterlife. Okay, all right, um, and they also, by the way, believe that your life was humans were basically immortal. I mean, their physical bodies died, but the soul continued unless you were fed to that creature. Okay, okay, right, right, okay. I know, bro. Moment, I know. Okay, all right. So let's now, folks. Exactly. You're right in your groove, and this is where it gets interesting, right? Okay. So let's now look at an etic perspective. Don't worry, I'm not gonna retell all these stories. I'm just gonna give a few notes on some of the things I said here. Okay. So if we were to look at this from an anthropological perspective, or a cultural materialist perspective, or my perspective, right? From my anthropological perspective, let's take a look at this. So, um, first of all, these two figures here, Shu and Tefnut. I mentioned before that these both represented, one represents moisture and water, and the other one represents dryness and air. Egypt, geographically, is located in a very fertile river valley, the Nile River Valley, and it is almost completely surrounded by hot, arid deserts. So of course, in the Egyptian mind, there is there's two sort of primary forces in the world: the encroaching hot, windy desert and the wet, moist river valley of the Nile. Um, and that makes sense, does it not? Okay. So to them, that's sort of the dichotomy of where they live. They are a lush river valley surrounded by deserts. So the two main forces derived from the first god are those two forces, right? Next thing here, Geb and Newt. Now you'll notice that at the bottom here, Newt, it said, I mentioned that Newt was the god of the earth and the soil. And whenever he got angry, there would be famines, they said, because the ancient Egyptians did not fully understand why sometimes their crops would fail. So they interpreted that as, oh, Geb must just be angry at us, right? He must be angry. He must be not not letting our crops grow because he's upset. All right. It also should be noted that where does rain come from? Rain, which can help flood the Nile, which will help the crops. If the rain wouldn't come, they could blame Nut, the sky god, right? And then they could claim that Geb was angry at the sky god for not raining, which is why the crops weren't growing, right? Okay. So okay, that makes sense. Um, all right. And obviously, the god in the center here, Shu, who is one of these original ones, tries to keep them in balance, right? Because you need rain and you need good soil in order for the crops to work. So he has to try and keep them apart, make sure they don't overdo it, because floods can also be devastating. Next here, Thoth. So what's interesting, folks, if you notice in this story, a lot of these gods pop out of nowhere. We had one god, like the main god, who was the only thing that existed. Then two gods came from him, and then suddenly other gods start popping up that make no sense where they came from. This often happens in mythology because Egypt was not originally unified, and different gods were invented in different places. So then, when they all got unified, they had to kind of come up with reasons why these other gods existed. So Thoth, like they literally, like the ancient Egyptian texts say, "Oh, he was self-created. He just kind of popped into existence." Because according to other Egyptians, he was one of the first creator gods. Okay, all right. Yeah, exactly. Literally, Dolly Boy, it's like shoehorning new plot lines into into the story. That's what a lot of mythologies do. Every religion does that, by the way. Over time, things change, plot points get shoehorned in. Okay. Now, the battle of the gods. This is where I think it gets super interesting. I talked about Osiris and Set. Okay. There were two, there's a lot of things in ancient Egypt that are very dichotomous. A lot of dichotomies, a lot of uh, dual forces in ancient Egyptian thought that are always fighting with each other. So let's talk about Osiris. He epitomized an ancient Egyptian ideal called Ma'at, which means order. Things like civilization, order, prosperity, justice. Ma'at. And Ma'at was associated with the ancient Egyptian state, the government. The whole point of the pharaoh was to maintain Ma'at in the kingdom of Egypt. All right? Ma'at. Set epitomized something called Isfet, which is the opposite of Ma'at and means chaos, war, violence, upheaval, non-civilization, savagery, I guess you could use if you want to find a really archaic word, a word that the Egyptians didn't use, okay? And he was the polar opposite of Osiris, who was Ma'at, order, okay? And Set, and by the way, Egypt was surrounded by a lot of nomadic tribes and stuff who would oftentimes incur into Egypt from outside of Egypt, from the desert and things like that, and would bring war to Egypt. And so, from the Egyptians' perspective, this duality makes sense. You have the realm run by the pharaoh, which is the realm of justice and order and civilization. And then there's always this threat of incursion by Ishfet, chaos, the tribal groups outside of Egypt. Things like that, trying to constantly come into Egypt and ruin the civilization. Isn't it Fox Emblem? Okay. I love this idea of Ma'at and Ishfet. Oftentimes, I feel like our little community here is an oasis of Ma'at trying to push back against the Ishfet of the MAGA movement. Anyway, okay, so this war between Set and Osiris could be viewed as a war between the pharaoh and all the forces outside of Egypt trying to destroy Egypt. Okay, or all the forces within Egypt trying to disrupt order and the power of the pharaoh. Okay, um, I guess outer say I guess I am Ma'at. Okay, um, all right, and so do we see how that works? And by the way, another thing here. So, all right, so Ishvet again that and remember how we talked about cultural materialism and how a lot of ideologies reinforce power structures. So yeah. By the way, what was the name of that scale I told you about in the afterlife? What was the name of that scale? I'll remind you, I think I only said it briefly. The name of that scale in the afterlife is the scale of Ma'at, because the measure of your life is uh, how much Ma'at you have. How obedient are you to the pharaoh? How much do you contribute to civilization? Do you cause disorder, or are you obedient to the established order and interact positively with your fellow Egyptians? Now, not all these things are bad. It also is like you don't kill people, you don't hurt other Egyptians and things like that. That causes disorder too. But the whole point here is you can make it to the afterlife if you maintain ma'at. You are loyal. You don't cause disorder. Okay? That is why it's called the scale of Ma'at. And remember, Osiris here was the first pharaoh, and he's the one that ultimately judges whether you go to the afterlife or not. So again, you can see how this reinforces the idea of the state. Okay, you need to be obedient to the state, be obedient to the powers that be. Don't cause disorder. Yeah, don't go outside the established hierarchies, because that is Ishfat. Okay, um, so okay. And you'll notice also, by the way, if I show you another picture of Horus here, this is a very common way of depicting him. It's kind of creepy once you notice it. Notice, and by the way, this is also a symbol of a lot of the. This is also a symbol of a lot of the that the pharaohs would wield. He has two items in his hand. He has a flail and he has a shepherd's crook to show the duality of the power of the pharaoh. Sometimes you got to use the flail to keep Ma'at in line, and sometimes you got to use the shepherd's crook. Sometimes you got to be nice, and sometimes you have to use the power of the state. We might call this soft and hard power, right? Soft and hard power uh, to enforce Ma'at within Egypt. Okay. Also, well, I forgot one last thing here. You also see Set. Set's head is actually a jackal. Um, it's thought that it's thought that it's kind of like a jackal. Anubis also was a jackal. It's kind of confusing. Different people interpret it differently. But jackals were at the time viewed as scavengers. So the idea that people outside of Egypt just want to scavenge off the success and prosperity of Egypt and take what they have. Okay. All right. Uh yeah, Louise. Okay. So trying to see here. Oh, another thing here. Remember what I said previously. Remember what I kind of, Doug. Remember what I said previously. In order to reach the afterlife, I think who was it that said, was it Outer Signal? No, it wasn't. It was In Your Groove. Who mentioned this earlier? Okay, In Your Groove mentioned this earlier. In order to also go to the afterlife, you needed to preserve your body, right? You needed your body preserved. You also needed to have memorized the names of all the gods. Now, folks, to have your body preserved is an expensive process because the people who would preserve your body after you died would be priests, Egyptian priests, whom you'd have to pay a fee to in order to have your body preserved. And it was expensive, and they would only preserve your body so well, depending on how much you paid. But then, of course, there's the thought that the better preserved your body is, the better chance you have of going to the afterlife. And also, the people that would teach you the names of the gods would be the priests. So, does it seem like it might be advantageous to the priest class to make people think that they all need to preserve their bodies and memorize the name of the gods to go on to the afterlife? Might that help keep them in power? If it demands that only, and by the way, it also means that the elites and the pharaohs had a much higher chance of getting into the afterlife because they could afford to have these lavish burial ceremonies and things like that. Okay. And what we do know is that the priest class in ancient Egypt was very powerful. Kind of Drusilla, kind of like an ancient scam, right? Okay. So to the point, by the way, where there was a god who I believe who was it that mentioned this earlier? Was it Brumoment? There was one pharaoh named Akhenaten who got rid of all the other gods and said that there was only one god, Aten, the sun god, and it really pissed off the priests, who then suddenly lost their ability to collect contributions and stuff. Um, uh, who lost their ability to collect contributions and stuff from all these god temples and things like that, and they got very angry. And there's some thoughts that they may have assassinated Akhenaten. Okay, maybe we're not sure. Whatever. Okay. Anyway, so that is, and of course, as always, a promise of a lovely afterlife if you are obedient, maintain Ma'at, and help the pharaoh resist outside disorder. Okay. All right. There we go. That's our presentation. And I feel bad. I want to point out, like, I'm not, you all know, uh, both perspectives are super interesting, right? I love ancient Egyptian mythology. It does not at all take away from the brilliance, the creativity, and the Drusilla. You're not wrong. There have been comparisons to that. Um, it does not take away at all from the brilliance of like the story of the mythology and things like that. Um, it's very cool. Okay, all these stories are very cool, but we could look at it from a different way. Uh, okay, there are different ways to look at these things. Oh, a sure Fox emblem, okay. And by the way, I know I'm talking just about ancient Egypt. I could do this exact same thing with almost any other religion in the world. Okay, did a little bit with like the sacred cows of India. I also did a little bit with the idea of heaven in Christianity. You can also, by the way, one other thing too. You'll notice that Osiris was died and rose from the dead. And then Osiris's son became the savior of Egypt and founded his kingdom on earth, and he was literally a god on earth. It was very common at this time to have gods rise from the dead and establish kingdoms on earth. I'll let you decide why I'm telling you that. It was very common across multiple different cultures at the time. There were multiple instances of people who were human beings who descended to godhood and were gods walking on earth. And a lot of them ended up dying and coming back to life. Okay, a lot of them did. It was not an unusual thing at the time. If anything, if you look at like all of mythology, it was almost commonplace. It seems like everyone was rising from the dead, and there were gods walking on earth everywhere. Anyway, I'm sorry. That was my little atheist moment. I should be okay. Um, okay. Yep, you're right, Fox. And then we'll talk about that sometime too, Gilgamesh. Okay, guys. So there you go. That is our story of ancient Egypt. Two different perspectives. Epic, Etic, and Emic. Emic and Etic. You can look at things from two different ways. Both are important because, by the way, folks, the ancient Egyptians, like, they weren't dumb people. Like, it's not like they're like, oh, we're being duped. They truly believe this stuff, and the priests and the pharaoh truly believed it too. A lot of times, these ideologies take on a self-fulfilling form, right? It's not like every generation of priest was like, okay, we're going to keep up this scam. No, 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 no. It just becomes part of the culture, and then it sort of perpetuates it, right? Um, it's not like they're being, see what I mean? So I'm not trying to be, yeah, Trump failed. Okay. Yes. And by the way, Trump failed. Trump failed says, like how snakes were considered the personification of evil. Yep. In very many places, Trump failed. As a matter of fact, folks, well, actually, I'll talk about that at a different time. I don't want to get off on a tangent there, but okay. All right. So, okay, guys, there you go. There's our presentation on ancient Egypt. I thought it'd be a fun little thing to do, given the state of the world, etc., and how some of us are feeling not so great. All right. So next thing, yeah, snakes are adorable. I want a snake. Uh, Next thing here, sneaks. How's everyone doing? Everyone doing okay? You taking care of yourself, Marky? You taking care of yourself, Fox? Everyone good? Everyone drinking enough water, keeping themselves good? Uh, okay. Everyone keeping themselves good and healthy out there. All right. Uh, so yeah, yeah. Fittery little snicks. I can't even do it, pizza. Okay, welcome, pizza. But sorry if I missed anyone come in. I was kind of hyper focused on this. Hello to everyone. If I missed you, I love you all. Okay. So I wanted to uh react to this. Now, this is Thanksgiving is coming up. Uh well, I don't know, Fox. I mean, I understand Fox Emblem, but I don't make much money. I didn't make much money as a teacher, Fox Emblem, and even though I had even though I have history, but you're right though, like as a passion. Okay, so guys, I'm not gonna do like a to this. Well, maybe I will do an official reaction to this. I'm not gonna do an official reaction to this. Maybe I'll redo it later. I'm not really feeling like doing an official reaction, but I just want to do kind of a. This one actually might not be that bad. I have found that PragerU's history videos, although they're generalized and kind of biased, they're not horrible. But with Thanksgiving coming up near the end of the month, they just posted this video. It's Colonial America, Jamestown versus Plymouth. And so I thought we could watch it together and I could add some more context. Um, by the way, folks, for those who and again, it probably admittedly, folks, like when I've seen their other history videos, they're not horrible. They're like pretty simplistic and kind of have a biased, obviously, perspective, but they're not like insane, weirdly enough. Uh Yeah, Dolly Boy. Okay, well, I should put it this way: their early American histories aren't horrific. They're bad, but they're not horrific compared to their modern ones because they're much more politically biased. Okay, so we'll see if this one is bad. Um, it might even just be it might be good, and then it'll just be boring. Okay. All right. So another thing here, folks, if we get 2 more super chats, I will put on the jester collar. Thank you for those who contributed already. If we get to 5, I will put on the jester makeup. And then every dollar we receive after 5 will be another minute that I stream up to an hour. So there you go. Okay. Really weird amorphous bump. Then I need to see it. Okay, yeah, no, it won't be good. I doubt it. I'm just warning all of you. Yeah, actually, that's a good point, Fox Emblem. You know what? Never mind. I take it back. I should say I was watching some of their like early American history, like early United States American history videos, and they're just kind of boring, like textbook things that leave out a lot of stuff, but they're not like pushing any particular. I've only watched like 3 of them, but anyway. So let's see what this one is about. What is this Thanksgiving which you speak of? Oh, Mithril. Yes, our lovely Thanksgiving celebration over here in the USA. And we have. Does everyone here know Thanksgiving? I'm guessing. Anyone not know Thanksgiving? I'm guessing because of American imperialism and stuff. You all are very well aware of all of our holidays because we shoved them down your throats. Hello, Mechakind. Hello, Mechakind. Okay. Okay. So let's watch this. Let's see how it is. Okay. So Thanksgiving is a holiday in the United States where basically Americans get together. For the Americans in chat, maybe put into chat what you all eat on that day, where like families get together and have a big meal. Um, have a big meal. It's sort of as an act of thanks. Yeah. There you go, Dolly Boy. As like an act of thanks for the year and stuff. It's a really nice holiday. It has kind of a. If you look at the history of it, there's some issues, but I actually like it as a holiday. It's very. It's just kind of nice. It's not necessarily about. But it's not like about presents or anything. Like Christmas is mainly just about getting together as a family and having a meal. Yeah, of course, capitalism pollutes everything, but yeah, they do, Dolly Boy. They have something similar. Okay. And you're right. The day after Thanksgiving is Black Friday, right? Uh, really, Druzil? That's insane. Okay. Anyway, so let's watch this. Let's just see how they do. Um, Before we begin here, for those who don't know, oh my God, that's amazing, pizza. Like, normally, I have the classic turkey, sweet potatoes, dressing, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce. I don't like cranberry sauce, but um, uh, oh, I know Mithril, I know. But actually, weirdly enough, Mithril, like, um, but like it's weird, Mithril, but like the holiday now is sort of separate from that first event. And that first event wasn't bad at all for either the natives or the settlers. It was only later, and I know I'm not trying to do defense here, but like it was only later that the massive violence took place between the two. Obviously, mainly one way. Maybe they'll talk about it in this, but okay. Um, I know I sound like I'm defending genocide. I am not. If anything, I think I view Thanksgiving as a way of thanking the natives because they kept, the colonists would have died pretty quickly. Otherwise, anyway, it's we could debate this. I know. Okay, so let's watch this real fast. Um, so this is Jamestown versus Plymouth. For those who don't know, Jamestown and Plymouth, Jamestown was the first successful long-term English colony in North America. It was in Virginia, and then Plymouth was another very successful English colony up in Massachusetts. They were very different from each other in terms of how they were structured. And a lot of times they're used, uh, um, uh, what's the term? Oh, I'm having a mind blank. Sorry. So they're used to sort of compare the northern United States and the southern United States. It's more complicated than that, but they're debated a lot. Okay. All right. You're smart guy. Thank you so much, Matt Saigai. Thank you very much for the super chat. Okay, one more and we'll put on the collar. Okay. All right. So let's watch it. Let's see what they say about these two colonies. I'll try to give you context if they get them wrong, which they will.
What would make a 17th century European leave the relative comfort and safety of the old world for a perilous life in the new? This new world wasn't just new.
already a bit of a problem here. Not everyone that was coming to the quote unquote new world, when it wasn't new at all, there are already millions of people living there, was like doing well back in the quote unquote old world. There were some of them were servants, things like that. Some of them were impoverished. Some of them were being religiously persecuted. Europe, they make it sound like exactly right, Dolly Boy. For the Europeans in chat, don't you all know that Europe was a utopia in the 17th century, and like this in 1600 to like 1700, it was just complete utopia. Everyone was happy. There was no peasantry. Okay. Um, I am not this time, Drusilla. I might redo it later, but partially because I don't feel great. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do it like this for now, and then I will maybe redo it later to make sure I don't miss anything because I'm feeling ill. Okay. All right.
It was utterly unknown.
No. Right. Nope. Dolly Boy. Perfect place Europe was before this. Okay. Yeah. It also was not utterly unknown. There had been prior attempts at settling the English settling. There were also other colonies in in North America, like Saint Augustine in Spain, which was founded by the Spanish. People knew a bit about North America at the time. It was not utterly unknown. There was another colony called Roanoke, which disappeared. That's a different story. But okay,
Getting there was incredibly dangerous. Imagine
that is
taking an
true.
ocean voyage on a small wooden ship equipped only with sails and simple navigational tools. And
Yeah.
once you arrived, if you arrived, then what? How would you survive? What would you eat?
Yeah.
Were the
Louise.
natives friendly or hostile? These are only a few of the daunting challenges and questions that
Who is this
faced the
guy?
first American colonists.
Ah.
Their motivations for coming were complex, but for our purposes, we can put them into two broad
Yes, Trump failed.
categories. Financial,
Yeah, it's unclear in your groove. We actually still don't know. So we don't know what happened to the people on Roanoke. There is different evidence from different perspectives. We don't know. That is one of them in your groove, is that they may have given up and integrated with the natives. They may have all perished. They may have tried to go back to England and their ship sank on the way. Um, yes, in your groove, there are oral stories are very unreliable. On top of that, it's very possible that some of them, because that would often happen, colonists would go integrate with the natives. It might have just been some of them that went and integrated. So then what happened to the rest of them? The thing is, we don't know in your group, but that is a possible explanation. I'm not saying that didn't happen. It's just that to this day, historians are kind of unsure. It could have been a horrible winter fox emblem. We don't know. It's like I'm trying to be clear. Like we literally don't know. It's still debated. We don't have any good evidence.
and religious. The financial was represented by the settlement at Jamestown, Virginia, established in 1607. The religious was represented by the settlement at Plymouth, Massachusetts.
This is more complicated than that. Both of them were partially financial. Definitely the one in Plymouth was more religious. I'll explain why in a minute.
Established in 1620. By comparing these two colonies, we can learn much about the origins of America. The colonists who established
Trump failed. What does Mini Minuteman say about it? Does a Mini Minuteman have a strong opinion about it?
Jamestown in 1607 were sponsored by the Virginia Company of London, a profit-making venture. 104 intrepid.
Yeah. So Jamestown was actually founded by a corporation. Oh, thank you. I'm sorry, Matt Saigai. Yes, we do get the caller now. So Jamestown was a corporation, was literally founded by the what is it? The Virginia. Oh my God, why can't I think about this? The Virginia Company. The Virginia Company. It was a corporate venture. The whole point was to make money. They thought they would find gold, and they also wanted to produce tobacco and other things just to make a quick buck. Well, let's see if they talk about this.
Souls made up the first group. There was not a single woman.
No, so guys, okay. I know I'm seeing multiple people in chat telling me that it is certain, that is absolutely certain, that the people of Roanoke integrated with the natives. It is not. Yes, there are genetic markers on the native population. It would frequently happen in any colony that some colonists would go and live with the natives. Sometimes they'd actually be abducted by the natives because the natives had declining populations and they would integrate. That does not mean that the entire colony integrated with the natives. We just don't know. It is very possible. It is very possible. that some of them may have integrated with the natives. It's possible that all of them integrated with the natives, but it is not certain at all. At all. Trust me when I say this. Okay, it is not certain at all. The evidence we have is extremely weak. Um, Either way. Okay. And it could be that several things happened. It could be that some of them went and lived with the natives. The rest of them may have then tried to leave and died. Some of them may have gotten on a ship and tried to go back to England, and then the ship sunk all the way to England. We don't know. So this is one thing I will push back on, because I can promise you it is unclear still historically. It is unclear in almost every way. Okay. And one thing we are certain of, we didn't find any of their bodies or anything. Okay. So didn't have a ship, so they didn't try to go back. Sorry, oops, someone's checking. I just lost this. Yeah, and in your groove. Okay, guys, you know what? One second. I'm going to pause here. Okay. I'm telling you, folks, this is not certain at all. Okay. And I'm not sure why people are so determined that it is certain, but okay. Like, really, who cares? But I'm trying to find here. I know this is Wikipedia, but it's just the first thing that came across. Okay. Uh, trying to find here. Okay. So so there was absolutely a ship there called the Francis. That was left there by someone else. It was not their ship, but there was a ship there called the Francis. Flagship Pinnacle. Yeah, well, I have to look more into that, but there absolutely was a ship there. The fleet was preparing to leave to England. The colonists. Oh wait, I was looking too early. My point of their focus, this is just a waste of my time. But they do. We don't know. Okay, it is still a debated event. All right. Um, no, I know in your groove. I like I just said, I just misread that. But in your groove, it doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter. We don't know what happened to them. We don't know if they integrated with the local population. We don't know if they went out to sea and got lost. They we don't know. So it's still debated. Oh, here we go. Here you go. Okay, the colonists could have decided to rescue themselves by sailing for England, in the pinnace, which is right here. So they could build a ship. They did build a ship, the pinnace. Okay. If such an effort was made, the ship could have been lost with all hands at sea, accounting for the absence of both the ship and any trace of the colonists. So again, there was a ship. Okay. Uh, and but it probably wouldn't have been enough to carry all the colonists. Um, the colonists may have possessed the resources to construct another seaworthy vessel using local lumber and spare parts from the pinnace. Um, okay, so yep, there could have been a ship. I think we have now solved this. I know this is Wikipedia, but just for the sake of time here, I'm telling you, all right, let's go on. We don't know. We don't know what happened. We don't know if they built a ship. That's my point. We don't know if they built a ship. We don't know if they integrated with the natives. We don't know. Okay. It could have been multiple things. All right. Okay. Moving on. I never thought that I would get. By the way, I love debating history in your group, so I get passionate about it, which is what I used to do in grad school. We used to have very impassioned debates about these things. So it's not you and your group, but okay. Okay. Here we go.
The colony of Jamestown was founded by just over 100 English settlers on May 13th, 1607, more than 13 years before the landing of the Mayflower.
Oh shit, wrong video. Sorry. Once I got to go back here. But I love debating. I love debating history. Okay, let me go back here. All right. I know where to go. Where to go?
Socialism
Did I just lose it? Did I lose it because I got so into this? Oh, I have to go back here. I have to go back here. Okay. My mistake, folks. I got too into the debate. What? No.
What would make a 17th century European leave the relative comfort and safety if you arrived? Then what?
Okay.
How would you survive? What would you eat? Were the natives friendly or hostile?
Okay.
These are only a few of the daunting challenges and questions that faced the first American colonists. Their motivations for coming were complex, but for our purposes, we can put them into two broad categories: financial and religious. The financial was represented by the settlement at Jamestown, Virginia, established in 1607. The religious was represented by the settlement at Plymouth, Massachusetts, established in 1620. By comparing these two colonies, we can learn much about the origins of America. The colonists who established Jamestown,
and this is an oversimplification, but okay,
in 1607 were sponsored by the Virginia Company of London.
They were a corporation,
a profit-making venture. 104 intrepid souls made up the first group. There was not a single woman among them, suggesting they had little intention of settling down, but hoped to make some easy money and return home to England.
Okay, that's actually good history. A lot of them were like lesser nobility. They were just looking for a quick buck, trying to make a quick amount of money.
Wealthy men. That hope was based on the naive belief that gold would be so abundant in the New World that they could just pick it up off the ground. Though they experienced many natural wonders, precious metals were not among them. Their disappointment was compounded by the unfortunate fact that they built Jamestown near marshes.
Actually, this isn't bad. So this is kind of funny, though. They built, Mithril, they built Jamestown accidentally near a swamp. And one of the reasons they could build it there is because the natives weren't there, because the natives knew it was a swamp and it was infested with mosquitoes. So, oops, they built Jamestown next to a giant mosquito-infested swamp, which spread all kind of disease.
Incubators for disease-bearing mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Just 3 years after that first ship landed, 440 of the first 500 colonists were dead. The survivors...
Hey, they're doing pretty well. Okay, credit pros do. Most of them did die pretty quickly.
Tried selling timber for export.
By the way, they were because a lot of them were like nobility and had never worked a day in their lives. Like none of them farmed, like they weren't producing any food. And then they started starving and they're like, why are we starving? We're having trouble producing food. Although admittedly, there was also sort of not that much rainfall. And then they started starving and we'll see what happens.
Even experimented with making wine.
Yeah.
But nothing seemed to catch on until 1614 when they began cultivating tobacco, already a popular consumer product in Europe. By 1617, a visitor to Virginia observed that the small colony's streets and all other spare places are planted with tobacco. Harvesting the broad, brown-leafed plant was labor-intensive, but as the century progressed, the Virginians came to rely more and more on slave labor, already being utilized on English sugar plantations in the Caribbean. The Jamestown...
Of course, a lot of times it's left out that they often use native slave labor. They would use, right, Doug? Yeah, they were really incompetent, Doug. Okay.
Colonists were Christians, and one of the first things they did was set up a church.
Yeah, that might not be the first thing you want to do. You might want to try and produce food. As a matter of fact, when one of the first voyages of supplies came to them, they came to Jamestown and they found them playing like an early form of soccer in the streets, an early form of football in the streets, as opposed to trying. And they were hungry, but they weren't working. They were just playing soccer because they were all nobles and they weren't used to work. Dolly Boy, you're right. Okay, you're right. They used indentured servants. They did.
The earliest Protestant church in North America. But faith did not fuel the colonists' ambition. Profit did. By contrast, the Plymouth colonists came seeking religious freedom. They were separatist Christians, meaning they believed.
I think Mithril alluded to this earlier. So the pilgrims, for the Americans that are here, and actually for everyone, for those who are curious why America is so religiously fundamentalist and so batshit crazy far right Christian, it's because of these guys, the Puritans, the Pilgrims. They didn't, and it's sort of a lie to say that we can find the origins of religious freedom in them. They wanted to come here because they hated being around any other religious group, and they wanted a place where they could just practice their religion. They didn't care for other religions. They were far right, pretty crazy cultists who saw witchcraft everywhere. I'm not trying to be a douche here. I'm just being honest with you. They were not exactly. They were kind of crazy lunatics. They were persecuted back in England, but they were like maybe for good cause. Anyway, I mean, not really, but okay. Anyway, all right.
That the Church of England, the nation's official denomination, had become fatally corrupt. True Christians, they believed, should separate from the national church and form their own congregations.
Yeah.
But doing this was illegal in the British Isles.
Yeah.
Violently persecuted for their beliefs, these separatists fled their homeland for the more tolerant Netherlands. Ironically, the Dutch proved to be too tolerant, that is, too secular for these pilgrims.
Yeah, you're right, Mithril. They were persecuted for being persecutors. They were now, Mithril, it's a bit more complicated than that, but you are mainly right, okay?
They decided that to practice their religion successfully, they had to make a clean break with the old world. They arrived on the Massachusetts coast in 1620. Before stepping on land, the Plymouth colonists signed the Mayflower Compact, named for the ship that carried them across the ocean. The compact, as short and simple as it was, reflected the religious fervor of the colony, declaring as its priority the glory of God and advancement of the Christian faith.
Oh God, that sounds like such a party pooper. And boy, like they would go to mass for like 6 hours. That might be a bit of an exaggeration. I can't remember the exact amount of time. Like on Sunday, they would be at mass for like 6 hours or like multiple hours. I mean, Jesus Christ. Okay.
It also reflected the idea, a bold
Oh God, Mary showed an ankle. Oh my, anyway.
one
Okay.
at the time, that ordinary people could join together to govern themselves.
I could be wrong, but I think it was about 6 hours.
The Plymouth colonists were entering a land inhabited by Native Americans.
Hey, I got to tell you folks, credit where credit's due. They are at least mentioning that there were Native peoples there and that they already inhabited the area, right? At least, I guess.
Endured their own hardship. That first winter, 45 out of 102 settlers perished. Relations between the new arrivals and the Indians were harmonious and remained so for.
Admittedly, folks, these guys did work really hard to try and grow crops and stuff, but they were in Massachusetts, which if you've ever been to Massachusetts is pretty rocky. It's pretty rocky land. It's hard to grow crops there. They just struggled a lot. No, that's our land. We deserve because we went on ship to steal the exact right soup cheese.
Many years. The nearby Wampanoag tribe taught the colonists how to farm and hunt in the area.
Yep.
In the fall of 1621, both the colonists and the Indians gathered for a harvest festival.
Doug, I forgot about that. You're right, Doug. They would have someone in the church with like a what was it, like a switch, not the game console, okay, that would go up and down the aisles looking for people nodding, like falling asleep, and they would hit them to wake them up.
Festival that we regard as the first Thanksgiving.
So this is what Thanksgiving comes from, is these early meetings between the natives and the colonists, help basically the natives keeping us alive, or not us. I'm not one of these people. I don't know why I say that. One of these early colonists alive because they were starving.
A feast to thank God for his faithful provision. There was no cranberry sauce and pumpkin pie, but there was boiled cornmeal mush, shellfish, eels, venison, and yes, a great store of wild turkeys.
Nope, you're a smart guy. They are not.
Looking back 400 years, can we see a connection between Jamestown and Plymouth in America today? Well, think of it this way. Financial entrepreneurs founded Jamestown. Spiritual entrepreneurs founded Plymouth. Against all odds, through faith and fortitude, they laid the cornerstone for what became the most religiously tolerant nation in the West. And the
Oh, wow. Yeah. Uh, God, do we even have to comment on this last part? They weren't doing that bad until they had to add this American exceptionalism shit.
richest, the United States of America.
Yeah,
I'm
right,
Thomas
Dolly boy.
Kidd, author of American History, Volumes 1 and 2.
Right, Trump. This is what I mean, Trump failed. Like, you're right. This isn't like horrible.
For Prager
I mean,
University.
it's just kind of like childlike. Yeah, you're exactly, Drizella. It's just kind of childlike. Like, it's very simplistic. That was the only time that Trump failed. Okay. Okay. Yeah, smart guy. Hey, we're lunatics over here, so that's why we don't do it. Okay. All right, that's not bad. Mithril, hey, I buy that, Mithril. You're right. Capitalism and religious lunacy seem like a good description of the U.S. Totally, Mithril. Totally. No, obviously, absolutely not. Weird amorphous blob. They could not. Okay. Anyway. Okay, that was cute. That's nice. That wasn't that bad. That was kind of simple, right? That was kind of simple. Not too bad. Well, we're just gonna watch one more. This is very short. This is only 2 minutes long. This is from that other channel. This is from that other channel, the Y Minutes that I found. It's called Why Socialism. No, not this one. I want the other one that I saw. This one is also about Jamestown, I believe. But I suspect from reading the description
Sure,
that
socialism has had its problems, but it's still a
where'd it go? There it is. It's about Jamestown.
The colony of
And
Jamestown was
there are what I was expecting to see in that last video is that a lot of conservative historians say that Jamestown, the reason Jamestown ended up succeeding is because of capitalism. I'm not even joking. They say that Jamestown started off as like a socialist collective, and as soon as they turned to private ownership of property, it started succeeding and people stopped starving. And it's a perfect example of why capitalism is the perfect system and why it can bring people out of poverty. So that is, I suspect from the description in this video, that's what they're going to say in this one. So I'm just curious to see if they say it in this one. And I, of course, will offer rebuttal if that's the case. It's a very old-fashioned argument. No historian buys that anymore. None. I don't know of any historians. Okay. So, okay.
The colony of Jamestown was founded by just over 100 English settlers on May 13, 1607, more than 13 years before the landing of the Mayflower. And it's for that reason that Jamestown is often known as our country's birthplace, because the tiny colony along the Virginia Peninsula was the first successful English colony in North America.
Yep.
Note that I said successful. That's because there had been previous attempts to establish an English colony, but they had all failed, with the most infamous
admittedly, they're okay.
Example being the mysterious disappearance of the Roanoke colony in 1590. What you probably don't know is that Jamestown nearly joined Roanoke in vanishing off the map. In fact, for 2 days in June 1610, it did. The reason? Well, after a supply mission arrived at Jamestown, they discovered that over 80% of the colony's residents had died.
You're right.
But it wasn't the Spanish who had killed them. In fact, it wasn't even disease. Of the 500 colonists who had called Jamestown home, 439 of them had perished, and almost all of them had died of starvation. At that point, the decision was made to completely abandon Jamestown. Barely 3 years after the founding, the entire colony's surviving population boarded 2 ships bound for England. And to give you an idea just how close Jamestown came to completely failing, it was only after these 2 ships ran into another supply ship coming up the James River 2 days later.
That's true.
That the survivors decided to turn around.
Yeah, you feel like at that point you'd realize, maybe we just need to abandon this because we're about to die. We keep almost dying.
And it wasn't just the extra supplies which saved Jamestown. When the colonists returned to the settlement in the summer of 1610, one critical reform would change everything.
Guys, I think it's coming. This sounds like what one reform would possibly end the problems of a colony. I feel it, folks. I feel it. He's going to say capitalism. Oh my God. I'll be so happy if he does. I mean, I won't be happy, but I'll be happy that I watched this. Okay. Oh, let's hope. Let's hope.
thing. And that reform was the introduction of private property rights. You see, in 1611,
Hey! There we go. There it is. Okay, let's see.
Jamestown got a new governor named Thomas Dale. And one of the first things Dale did was abandon the communal system of farming that had existed since Jamestown's founding. Dale noted that the reason so many people had starved to death 2 years earlier was because, as one historian noted, the settlers did not have even.
Hey, look at this. This historian was from 1856 to 1933. Wow, they're having to go way back to find a historian that believes that, aren't they? Having to go way back.
Even a moderate interest in the soil. Everything produced by them went into the store, in which they had no proprietorship.
Okay, so look at that comment that this historian made, okay? The settlers did not have even a moderate interest in the soil. Everything produced by them went into the store in which they had no proprietorship. So you think that they didn't have interest in eating? You think that they had no interest in the soil? What does that even mean? Like they were just willingly starving to death because they were starving to death over and over again? Okay, I'm not sure what. Okay.
In short, a lack of property rights meant that none of the settlers were free to enjoy the fruits of their own labor. Dale solved this by handing out 3 acres of land to each man in the colony and told them to work. But unlike the old system, where everything was collectively owned by the Virginia Company,
skipping so much.
the settlers were now allowed.
Hey, I'm sorry. Do you hear that? So first of all right, this is true. This governor introduced this new system whereby he allotted them each about 3 acres of land and then let them sort of grow their own shit. What he did not mention is that there had been a scarcity of rainfall the years before that, right, which had largely contributed to the failure of crops previously, and the fact that because it was a corporate owner, the land was corporately owned, they were mainly producing cash crops so they could make a quick buck as opposed to producing food. And what is really funny here is that he even just said it. Instead of the collective ownership of the Virginia Company, does that sound socialist to you? This is literally all that territory was owned by a corporation. It wasn't owned collectively, it was owned by a single corporate entity. If anything, the handing out of property to individual stakeholder owners was a reduction of capitalism because it meant that they took it out of the hands of the corporation and gave it to individuals. That is not so it was private property. It was private property owned by a corporation, and then they made it private property owned by individuals, which is almost more democratic. It's still capitalism, but it's a more democratic form of capitalism. So they make it, and yeah, and that's the other thing, Dolly Boy. Socialism didn't exist at this point. Socialism didn't exist. This is a completely made up idea that this is not. There was no concept of socialism. It was a corporate entity who wanted to make a profit, and so all the workers had to work towards that profit. And then affording the workers some property of their own may have contributed a bit to success because they no longer had to work on the profit stuff the company wanted them to. They could work more on, I can actually produce things I need to survive. But it had nothing to do with like socialism. If anything, it was a reduction of quote unquote capitalism. All right.
Allowed to own their own land and keep whatever they produce for themselves.
Right, Doug.
The results were an incredible success. According to another historian, as soon as the settlers were.
Oh, look, I'm sorry. This is great. This is great. Look at the date of this historian. 1879 to 1947. Wow, they're really having to go back to find historians that believe this nonsense.
Thrown upon their own resources, and each free man had acquired the right of owning property, the colonists quickly developed what would become the distinguishing characteristic of Americans, an aptitude for all kinds of craftsmanship, coupled with an innate genius for experimentation and innovation.
Okay, well, that's it. All right, hilarious. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I am done with my nerdiness. Okay. Oh, God help us all. All right, Ra help us. And Osiris grant us strength. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a good point, Doug. I think because, Doug, in the historical narrative, they mainly talk about the cash crops. Yeah. Oh no, Drizella, nothing like that, right? No American exceptionalism, right? And you notice he didn't bring up how like they were all. I mean, he did briefly that they were having issues, that they were starving, but like there was a lot more suffering than that. Uh, yeah. No, this was not socialism at all, and it was not communal ownership of property. It was property privately owned by a corporation and its investors that employed people to work on the property. It was an enterprise that was starving, okay? Yeah, Dolly Boy, yeah. Um, and yeah, handing out some property to be owned privately by individuals made it a bit better, but that was, if anything, reducing capitalism, right? Because it was actually giving individuals the ability. Well, anyway, okay. In Your Groove sounds like a company town to me. That's very true. In Your Groove, and by the way, folks, yeah, that In Your Groove, that is a great comparison. It was kind of like a company town. Another thing here too, right? He didn't mention this. There was a negative side effect to this, by the way. There was a negative side effect to handing out private property like this. Because you know what started happening? Before, the governing body of this colony could basically prevent settlers from taking more land from the Native Americans. They just could. They could regulate it because that land wasn't owned by the settlers. It was owned by the company. When they started handing out private property, you suddenly start seeing an explosion of expansion and conquest and murder of natives. Because now all these private landowners are trying to grab up as much land as possible to give it to themselves to produce more crops to make more money. And the state started backing up their claims to this territory they were taking. So there was also a negative. So if they don't mention that, to them, that's like amazing capitalism, free market, and things like that. Okay. It also meant mass death and destruction for the native peoples. Okay. All right. All right, guys. I'm going to put my face up here for a second. Boop. All right. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, guys. If we get 2 more super chats, I'll put on the makeup. If we get more after that, it'll be a minute per dollar I receive. And we got a few things to talk about here. Thank you everyone for letting me ramble a bit. Thank you, Dolly Boy. We're almost there. Okay, if we get one more, we will put on the collar or the makeup. We got some news items to talk about, don't we? So we've talked about a lot today. I know I've been kind of jumping around a lot. Thank you for bearing with me. We talked about the Egyptians. We talked about a little bit about Jamestown and Plymouth, mainly Jamestown. Okay, so there's some news items as well. First of all, did you all hear about Donald Trump actually coming out and saying that he wouldn't mind? He wants them to release the Epstein files now. Right, Drusilla. Just nice news. Just very nice news, Drusilla. As always, Drusilla. You know me. I only give nice news. Did you all hear about that? Now, what do we think is going on there? I honestly want to hear your guys' opinion. Do we think he actually wants these things released? Okay, can you guys hear me now? Can you guys hear me? Where I don't know, Obi, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on here. You guys still here? You guys here? Okay, oh my God, I'm gonna lose my mind. I have it scheduled to bring in my computer on Wednesday. I don't know what's going on with OBS and such. We'll figure it out. Okay. Okay, guys. So Trump is saying that he now wants the files released. I don't know what's happening with that. I know, kind of, Luke. I am kind of a noob. Let's be honest. I'll figure this out eventually. I don't understand what's going on. Probably will redact everything about himself. Okay, you're right. Maybe it's because I was talking about the files. You're right. Okay. Okay. I like all the things you're saying. I like all the things you're saying, guys. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely okay. So all right. Let's I'm gonna put this scene back up here. Oh, no, we're not watching this. Don't worry. Don't worry. We're not watching that. So I'm just curious. I haven't actually read much about it. I just saw that he wanted to release it. He's just going to say he wanted to release it, but the Senate. Oh, that's actually a good point, Luke. So he might just be posturing in order to make it seem like he cares. You're right, Luke. Because we don't know if he'll actually release the files we want to see. Okay. I must admit, Trump failed was there. Oh, I'm sorry. Trump failed. I did see the super chat. I just got distracted. I'll put on my thank you, Trump failed. I'll put on my makeup now. Okay. All right. Okay. So I'll put on the makeup. You know what? I have an idea because I'm putting on the makeup. So this is just interesting to me. So Jeffrey Epstein file saga is far from over, even after President Donald Trump suddenly reversed himself Sunday and told Republicans to vote for releasing them. Regardless of how it shakes out, the drama around the files has punctured Trump's aura of invincibility within the MAGA movement in a way few, if any, things have before, and it has proved a massive unforced political error by Trump. Hey, Jack, how you doing, Jack? Good to see you here, Jack. By Trump, the man who has for a decade dominated his base and told it what to care about has backed down when the base decided its priority. By the way, folks, I just pulled up CNN because that was like the first thing that I saw. I don't know if this is the best article on it, but okay. The big news overnight was that Trump seemed to relent after months of infighting. Significant number of Republicans have been expected to defect from Trump's opposition to releasing. Okay, so maybe he also thought that he was going to lose anyway. Yeah, right. Trump failed. Okay. Okay, so interesting. I don't. Okay, and it's time to move on from this Democrat hoax perpetrated by radical left lunatics in order to deflect from the great success of the Republican Party, including our own recent victory on the Democratic shutdown. Malzord, you missed my incompetence. You also missed everything, Malzord. Let's put it that way. We're just talking about Trump saying he wants the files released now, suddenly changing his mind after finding out that a lot of Republicans are going to defect and vote for it. Okay. All right. All right. Is my face almost done now? God. All right. So, all right. So the bill would still need to pass in the Senate, where Majority Leader John Thune was non-committal. So I guess who was it that said that? Was it Luke who said that the Senate would probably not stop? Interesting. Okay. So I guess we'll see about that. That's an interesting thing. Definitely interesting thing. Oh, this is live? What? Trump is live right now? It's a hoax, then why is he pushing to invest? Oh, that's a very, yeah, you know what, in your groove, you're right. You're right. If it's such a hoax, why is he pushing to investigate the Democrats? Okay, so Trump is live. Forgive me. Let's just see what he's saying. Don't worry. Druzilla, I'm sorry. I don't mean, I feel bad. I'm always torturing Druzilla. I'm going to get the eyes from her. Joke's on you. I actually ordered the Trojan horse to be filled with men. Oh, okay. That doesn't sound so bad. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So let's see what Trump is saying. Just real fast. I guess he's what? What is he doing? We'll just, and I'll finish the makeup while I'm doing that. Forgive me.
Total insurrection.
Oh, he's trying to wreck the World Cup. Okay.
And if we didn't go in, and the head of, the gentleman, he said it, and he said it strongly, he said we could not have done it without the federal government. We did a great job. If we think there's going to be any trouble,
right, Drizzle.
I would ask Johnny to move that to a different
yeah,
city.
Louise, I agree.
Would love to have it number one, and we'll do it very safely. So if we think there's a problem,
where is it going to be, folks? Where are they thinking they're going to have it?
Liberal.
You know me. I'm such a follower of sports.
Beyond just liberal. I watched her over the weekend. Wow. That's another.
You remember when Malzor was trying to tell me about a pitcher, a baseball pitcher, and basically said to me, was like, the pitcher, the person that throws the ball fast, because Malzor understood that I'm ignorant when it comes to sports. Anyway, what do we know, where is it going to be held? Is it going to be held yeah. Giuliani's son next to cosplay Queen Krusty. I don't know. Is it? Okay.
Say we will move. I don't think you're going to have this problem. But we're going to move
I got you in your groove. Okay.
It's going to be appreciated and safe.
Yeah, well, I think safety and security is the #1 priority.
Who is this guy on the right?
Successful
Oh, is he the head of the
We
FIFA?
can see today that people have trust in the United States when we see at the tickets.
Oh,
ticket
see, you know
sales,
what?
we-
This
we-
is
we
why I'm a
sold
fool, folks. I
really well.
didn't know this was held in multiple places. I thought this was like a world. Okay, I mean, I knew that. I knew that. So this is going to be a few places in the U.S. It'll be, yeah, oh, great. Yeah, folks, maybe you should. I don't want to. Maybe I shouldn't say this. Maybe you should kind of boycott this because, it is happening in a fascist country, the United States, and you don't really want to support that, do we? We don't want to give Trump a win. Okay, anyway. All right.
We're breaking figures of tickets, almost 2 million already sold out of 2 million that we have been selling. This is because people, they know that they will be coming here and they will experience a safe and secure World Cup. This is the responsibility, of course, of the government, of Secretary Norm, of everyone.
Thank you and your groove.
And obviously, we will, we will discuss, we are working together, we have a task force for this, and we must ensure that all fans coming from abroad or being here, they can experience.
Choosing black for my eyes today because I see a red door and I want to paint it. But is it just really me? Is it really quiet? I want to hear Trump. I don't want to hear who this guy.
We are communicating with all these mayors about what their responsibilities are. They know the safety.
Yeah,
and
I would
security of these
exactly,
events
Louise.
is their #1 responsibility, and we'll be there.
Oh,
The
I
president's
feel
always
bad.
there to
That's
keep-
actually kind of sad, Mithril, that a lot of the teams. It's also coming to. That'd be good for you, Trumpfield. That's for sure. That is for sure.
American
Okay.
safe.
I know I keep saying things like "Don't go to these things" that you need. Trumpfield. My apologies.
But he also makes sure the people that know their responsibilities and that they're prepared
Okay.
to host these events and do so in a safe manner.
Is there a timeline for that would have an effect?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
There was some news this morning from an Axios report that Senator Ted Cruz was laying the groundwork for a potential 2028 presidential run. Could I get your reaction to? Could you see yourself supporting?
Well, he's a friend of mine. I mean, I haven't spoken to him about it. It's a little early. It's 3.25 years. It's a long time. But he's a very good guy. He's a very good friend of mine. You remember we had quite a campaign against Ted, and it worked out quite nicely. Let's see, where are we? Oh, we're in the other But
There we go.
I'm not that surprised to hear that.
Jay, you sound sick. Is it just me?
Mr. President, on the tariff exemptions, you had some recently on a variety of different goods. I'm wondering, are you ruling out going forward no more exemptions on products? You were mentioning a disagreement you had earlier. So I'm
We've
wondering,
taken in
what do you think?
hundreds of billions of dollars in tariff money. We're going to be issuing dividends later on.
Yeah, almost done with my mouth here.
Prior to,
Oh yeah, Kate. You notice whenever he says he's going to send out tariff dividends, he never says when it is. I think the last time he said it would be sometime in the next year. Like I doubt that's ever going to happen. I doubt it's ever going to happen. Trump failed. He does sound like crap. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. He just sounds ill.
A little bit later than that. Of thousands of dollars. For
You're right, Drusilla.
Individuals, moderate income, middle income. We're going to pay down debt. We have a lot of money from tariffs. If we didn't have tariffs, this nation would be in serious trouble. And we've taken in tremendous amounts of money. And you know what's more important than that? We've protected our businesses from
Totally,
being
Meows. We're
raided
bread
like
and
we did
games,
with
like the
chip
old
business.
Roman
Now we're
Empire
bringing
used to
them
do.
all
Give the
back.
people bread and
But
games. Keep them,
we had 100% of the chip industry.
superficially happy, so there's
And
no
then they
revolt.
left. They went mostly to Taiwan and South Korea, but mostly
Probably,
Taiwan.
Luke. You're not wrong,
And,
Luke.
they have almost 100%. And we're going to have, within a short period of time, a big percentage of the chip business are coming back because of tariffs, because they don't want to pay the tariffs, because the tariffs will be very steep.
There we
if
go.
They don't come back.
I
And
feel better.
They've committed to come back. As you probably heard, Apple is now up to $700 billion. We have NVIDIA at $600 billion. We have tremendous amounts of money pouring in.
That looks
Our
horrible.
country
That's
has
good.
become amazing again and really, really rich
Oh,
again.
has it, folks?
I
Has
will
America
say
become
this,
amazing again? Is that
We have a decision we're waiting for. It's a very big decision.
I should take a poll on that. Let's
The
see if
numbers
we
that we've
agree.
taken in, if you talk about investments, is trillions, not with
If you say amazing
not with a B,
sarcastically, maybe.
not with
Oh,
an
yeah,
M,
it's amazing. Oh.
but trillions of dollars. I can't imagine having to give that money back. on something that we're allowed to do. And the ones that are fighting us are countries, largely, they're backing countries that have been ripping us off for years, using tariffs to rip us off.
You're right in your
and
groove.
Now we're able to defend ourselves. It really is a matter of national security, because economic security is national security. So I think you're going to see another thing happening.
Yeah, I love that. He's right. I mean, technically about that, but and maybe he should stop wrecking the economy.
I think you're going to see food prices coming down very substantially.
Saudi Arabia, tomorrow you're hosting Saudi Arabia. Are you planning to sell F-35s to Saudi Arabia?
Almost certainly. We love a nice genocidal authoritarian regime.
Yeah, no, I am planning on doing that.
Of course he is, right? I mean, come on, guys. I mean, is there a country in the world that's well? Okay, I'm exaggerating, obviously, because there are countries that we don't sell to because they are competitors of ours. But like, is there a country that is an authoritarian genocidal that we don't sell arms to? I mean, if we're not doing, I mean, we already were doing it to Saudi Arabia, but if we weren't, we better start, right? It seems like a tradition. Okay, obviously, I'm exaggerating. There are authoritarian countries who we don't support, but you get the joke I'm trying to make. Okay, you know, if I have to sort of qualify my jokes, it kind of ruins it, doesn't it? Oh well, whatever, screw it. I'm sick. I can't help it.
The Iran situation, what we did in terms of obliterating, you know, we obliterated their nuclear capability.
We obliterated it. We obliterated it.
I will say that we will be doing that. We'll be selling F-35s.
Mr. President, I read about something that you posted on Truth Social last night. You urged House
It's like
Republicans
Bubba
to vote in
obliterated my
favor of
throat.
this
Okay,
Epstein
I'm sorry.
release
That
bill
was
that they're
gross.
gonna
I
vote on
apologize.
tomorrow.
I mean, I
just want to be
don't.
super
It wasn't
clear
that
on your position.
inappropriate.
Do you want to see that pass the Senate? Would you
Okay.
sign that bill if it gets to your desk?
I do want to. Here's what I want. We have nothing to do with Epstein. The Democrats.
I've had a recurring cough
All of
ever
his
since
friends
then.
were Democrats.
Anyway.
You look at this Reid Hoffman, you look at Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, they went to his island all the time, and many others, they're all Democrats. All I want is for people to recognize the great job that I've done on pricing, on affordability.
Yeah, as if you would know the word recurring anyway.
Prices way down, but they're going way lower. On energy, on ending 8 wars, and
Hello,
another one
skittish
coming
kitten.
pretty soon, I believe. We've done a great job, and I hate to see that deflect from the great job we've done. So I'm all for it. You know, we've already given 50,000 pages. You do know that. Unfortunately, like with the Kennedy situation, with the Martin Luther King situation, not to put Jeffrey Epstein in the same category, but no matter what we give, it's
Really
never
is
enough.
Anderson.
You know, with Kennedy, we gave every.
Marky, did you give Trump your sickness? Or I'm sorry, Fox Emblem, did you give Trump your cold? Or anyone else who here's sick? I know there's several people who are sick.
Everything, and it wasn't enough. With Martin Luther King, we gave everything, and it's never enough.
Yes, I know, Drusilla. He is a Democrat. Dershowitz is a Democrat. Very
we've already
possibly so, Cal. I'm sorry. He's talking about the Epstein files. This is interesting.
I believe the number is 50,000 pages. 50,000 pages.
Yeah, and also in your groove, have you noticed how he always brings up JFK and MLK? In your groove says, who cares about the JFK, MLK files? Those people are long dead. Like, yeah, and like he's always trying to put himself, he's trying to compare himself. He's trying to say, like, I am being oppressed like JFK or Martin Luther King or something like that. Like, it's all about victimization, I'm sure.
And it's just a Russia
Right.
hoax as it pertains to the Republicans. Now, I believe that many of the people that some of the people that we mentioned are being
I gave you the files from the early days of Jamestown. What more do you want?
looked at very seriously for their relationship to Jeffrey Epstein, but they were with him all the time. I wasn't at all. And we'll see what happens. What I just don't want
you're right. Yeah, right, dog
Epstein to do is detract from the great success of the Republican Party, including the fact that the Democrats are totally blamed for the shutdown. You know, they cost our country hundreds of billions
Yeah, in your
of
groove.
dollars.
Yeah, and you're right. In your groove, he should ask. Well, what they should ask him is if it's such a hoax. Was it you that said this earlier in your groove? He should ask, well, then why are you going after the Democrats? If it's a hoax, why are you going after the Democrats? I don't know. You're right, though.
At a lot of inconvenience. So I'm for any. I don't. They can do whatever they want. We'll give them everything. Sure, I would. Let the Senate look at it. Let anybody look at it.
I love it. He's doing the hand thing again, folks. Like, I haven't seen him do this recently. Like when he goes, like he's trying to figure out like how much a meter is, how much a yard. It's like, is it this? Is it that? Is it this? Like, I don't know. I feel like it's a tick. It's just kind of weird. I don't know why he. Okay. Oh, you're not being. What do you mean? You're not being irritating. You're irritating, SoCal. Did Elmo insist they cancel their Adobe subscription as part of? Oh, maybe actually SoCal. Okay. Okay.
But don't
you're
talk
right,
about it
in
too
your
much
group.
because honestly, I don't want to take it away from us. It's really a Democrat problem.
You're right.
The
Yeah,
Democrats.
someone really ought to like make a video, take this video, and then put the sound of an accordion. You're totally right, SoCal. I stole this from SoCal and Doug. SoCal, like an accordion, like just have the accordion playing as he's doing this.
Democrats were Epstein's friends, all of them. And it's a hoax. The whole thing is a hoax. And I don't want to take it away from really the greatness of what the Republican Party has accomplished over the last period of time. Yeah,
The shutdown is now over. And administration officials had said when the shutdown ends, they'll reevaluate the farmer relief. Now we have the deal.
When are you not
with
irritated?
China.
Okay.
So is the administration still looking to dish out
Oh
farmer?
my God, in your group, like he did to who was it? He did that to? Was it Hakeem Jeffries? I can't remember.
Relief now.
Oh, really, Dolly Boy?
Yeah, we want to. I'm always going to help.
Oh
our
my God, that's a good point,
farmers.
SoCal.
I would do that. Yeah, if they need relief, we'll be there for them. We're going to always be for our farmers. Yeah, please in the back.
All right. Do you think the farmers are feeling that way? I actually recently drove by a bunch of soy fields, and there was a bunch of, because in Ohio there's a lot of soy being grown, and all the fields were full of soybeans, but they were all brown and dying because they hadn't harvested any of them because they have no one to sell them to.
Mr. President, just speaking of the economic impacts of FIFA and possibly moving to another city, some games if you feel there's crime, is there like a timeline that you would do that? Because these cities, there's sponsorships, there's economic impacts for these communities.
Sure.
Is there,
You know, the government.
Han Solo, ha 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 ha. Yeah, you're right. Very much Jabba the Hutt vibes. I'm waiting for him. Yeah, okay,
Governors are
anyway.
going to have to behave. The mayors are going to have to behave. You know, in the case of.
And then JD Vance comes up like that little creature. Like that little, I can't even do it. Like that little creature that Jabba the Hutt has. Anyway.
In California, you have a problem. You have high crime.
You're right, in your group.
And you have a place that just suffered great fire.
That would help people in your group. We can't do that.
And everything else, and they didn't do a very good job. And if we didn't go in from the crime standpoint, you would have had a disaster. It was not going to be handled properly. It wasn't able to be. The head of the police said as I said, without the federal government, they could not have done it. So here's the story. I love Los Angeles. If they want.
Oh, is that so? You love LA, huh? You love LA. That seems to be not a true statement. Okay. I have Mithril. That is brilliant. Mithril says, have you seen the meme photo? Trump holding hands with Clinton wearing T-shirts. Trump says, I drained the swamp. Clinton's T-shirt says the swamp. Oh, that's good. Yeah, exactly, Dolly Boy. He's like, yes, I love LA. I love that pile of that ruin because it is, it was burned down by protesters. Like, okay.
Want help during this?
That's what he thinks.
I would love to send in National Guard or whoever's necessary to help them. I want it to be great. I'd love it to be in Los Angeles. I love the place. It's a natural for Los Angeles. If we think there's going to be crime, if we are obstructed by the governor, and maybe he won't obstruct, maybe it'll be great. But I'd love him for him to call and say, we'd like to have some extra help. Because if there's even a hint of a problem, we want to get in there before the problem occurs. We want to make it totally safe for Johnny and FIFA and all of the great people that are going to be there. And I think that's going to happen. I would be honored to help California.
What is going on? Why is he complimenting California?
They should say so. We can be in there in 24 hours notice and do a great job.
What is going on? I'm going to go for it. I don't really care.
To ask for federal help. we'd love to help them.
Also potentially launching strikes.
Guys, I'm sorry. Look at this goddamn. Look at this goddamn. Look at the room behind here. All this gold plating. I'm sorry. I'm just seeing. Look at all this crap. Oh, I see SoCal. Okay, maybe I misunderstood what he was saying. He's just saying he wants to send it. By the way, I've always thought it was creepy. Do we see real fast? I know I'm pausing this. You see back here in the corner, above this doorway. Can you all see my my cursor here? Okay, you see this doorway back here? I'm kind of circling something. There is a above this doorway. I always thought this was telling. Where it's kind of in the very far right upper left-hand corner. There is an image there of a bundle of sticks. It is a sort of carved into the wooden door frame. It's a bundle of sticks that is wrapped up. They also, by the way, appear in Congress. I'll show you. Congress. Exactly, Soup Cheese. That is what it is. Congress Faskies. Here they are. Look at Congress here. This is wait, is it the House? I really can't remember. Where is it? There it is. Right there. Right there. You see it? Right there. You see this? So this is what is this? The House of Representatives or the yeah, so they're all over the White House. They're all over the White House. This is where the word fascism comes from. This thing right here, it's a Faskies. It is a bundle of sticks that is wrapped up with a axe held in the center. And basically Roman emperors, Roman consuls and stuff would march through the city with near two people carrying these as a symbol of Rome's authority. And it symbolizes the state, like the government, thank you, Global, the Senate, holding together the people. And then using force when necessary. And it's where the word fascism comes from, because fascism venerates that idea. They want a super powerful nationalism holding together the state and then violently suppressing dissent. And the American government was trying to model itself off of the Roman Empire. As a matter of fact, the early quote-unquote founding fathers wanted to create a so-called empire of liberty, which, by the way, is a contradiction. You can't have really an empire of liberty. That it would kind of imply that there's not liberty. But anyway, and so I just always thought it was funny that no one has ever really cared that there's two Faskies on either side of the Senate chamber. And then in even like the White House Oval Office, there, like above the doors, there are Faskies. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see that up there. That is a bundle of sticks. Now, there's no axe on these ones, but it is a bundle of sticks representing the power of the state. Kind of weird. Kind of weird. Anyway, just a side note. Fun little side note. Thought that would brighten everyone's day. Okay, let's go.
In Mexico, or putting American troops or American personnel into Mexico to deal with the cartels.
Fun, right, in your group?
To stop drugs?
We're all having fun here in your group. What do you mean?
Whatever we have to do to stop drugs. Mexico is... Look, I looked at Mexico City over the weekend. There's some big problems over there.
Right in your groove? Okay, right in your groove.
If we had to, would we do there what...
Wonder if Trump tried to gargle on that, too.
We've done to the waterways. You know, there's almost no drugs coming in through our waterways anymore. Isn't it down like 80?
I want this flagpole to be 88 feet tall because it reminds me of Clinton. I don't know.
85%?
It is, sir.
I don't know who the 15% would be. It wouldn't be you.
No, that's for sure.
No, I think it's been...
Tons and tons of
You would
drugs.
say that's a big signal.
Absolutely.
We have almost no drugs coming into our country.
Is that
by
so,
the
Dolly Boy?
sea,
I did not
by,
see that.
you
That's
know, the waterways.
insane.
And you know why, okay? I mean, it's pretty obvious. Would I do that on the land car?
Christy Nome, weird to see her not trying to murder a small animal. If anyone's seen the South Park episode, like she just loves shooting at dogs. Like I don't know, remember she was the one who came out and said that she had shot like one of her dogs. She had put it down and was unrepentant about it and stuff, and was kind of celebratory of it. Anyway, okay. Anyway, pets beware.
I would look. Every boat we knock out, we save 25,000 American lives. Not to mention the destruction of families. These families are decimated forever. The mother, the father, the children.
Thank you, SoCal. It was in her memoir.
They never recover really from it. You know.
My God, what is he talking about?
Like the way they live. If you lose them, but the way they die is horrible.
The way they
so
die.
when we knock out a boat and we save 25,000 lives, that's great. Now,
okay. This is just justifying the illegal slaughter of people without trial.
I feel the same way about the corridors that they use. We know every one of them. We have every one of those corridors under major surveillance.
Yeah, see, this is the problem with drugs, though. It's an issue of supply and demand. Right, Soup Cheese? Like, I don't know if it was that much, but this is the issue of supply and demand. As long as there's a demand for it, there will be found a way to supply it. Maybe reduce demand. That might work. I don't know. Just a thought. I might not be an economist, but I feel like. Anyway, okay. All right.
We have nobody coming in through our southern border, but we know exactly how they get their things here, how they get the drugs here.
Oh, that's true, Dolly Boy.
Cocaine.
That's really true, Dolly Boy.
Colombia has cocaine factories where they make cocaine. Would I knock out those factories? I would be proud to do it personally. I didn't say I'm doing it, but I would be proud to do it.
Jesus Christ. Okay. He's just like, I would love to bomb those areas. I'm going to just bomb the hell out of them. Now, normally, this is actually pretty funny because normally what the United States does is they fund the government of Colombia with weapons and then let them do the bombing for the United States to at least give the appearance that the United States isn't bombing places that have civilians and stuff. But I mean, now he's just being open about it. He's like, oh, I wish we could just bomb Colombia. That'd be great. That'd be great. Okay.
Millions of lives by doing it.
Would you only do a quick Mexico?
Oh, Skittish Kitten, you are so right.
I wouldn't answer that question. I've been speaking to Mexico.
Skittish Kitten, is that the reason why you're skittish? Because Christy Nome is in the room and you're not quite sure what her intentions might be with you? Like, I know you're not a dog, but, you know, I mean, she might get confused and think you are.
They know how I stand. We're losing hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah, he does. You're right. Oh my God, you're right, Dolly. So is this Infantinos? Is this he's Greek? I'm not sure where he's from. He's not Greek. I don't know what he is.
We know their address.
He looks so uncomfortable. Look, yeah, he does. Oh my God, he looks like one of my students who's like really bored. When I'm okay, so like when then that's probably then understandable why you're concerned there, Skittish Kitten. Okay, you see here, he looks like, so like when I would get mad at a student in my class, oh, I got you, Dolly Boy. Okay. Oh, don't tell him I called him a Greek. Okay. Right. He doesn't care people die. Infantinos right here, Dolly Boy pointed this out. He looks like what some of my students would look like if I was like getting after another student in my class and then they start feeling really uncomfortable as I'm chewing out one of these students. And like the other students are just like, this is uncomfortable. Our friend is being chewed out and we just have to sit here and listen to Mr. Well, I won't say my name, but listen to Casual Revolt shredding out our friend. Do we have to sit here and listen to this? That's what this guy looks like. Okay. Anyway.
We know everything about every one of them. They're killing our people. That's like a war. Would I do it?
Thank you, Mr. Revolt. Thank you, Soup Cheese.
I'd probably go into Congress and say, hey, and you know what? The Democrats and the Republicans would both agree, unless they're crazy. And they are a little crazy on the Democrat side.
Jesus Christ.
We have.
Oh my God, you're right, Skittish Kitten. He does look like Mr. Magoo.
Thousands of people a year death. And that's not talking about family destruction, it's talking about that. And much of it comes through Mexico. So let me just put it this way. I am not happy with Mexico, okay? Thank you very much, everybody.
I am not happy with Mexico. Oh my God, what a baby. Okay. All right, thank you guys. Okay, we're glad that ended quickly. We didn't have to listen to too much of Trump. Okay. I'll put my face back up. Boop, 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 boop. Where's my face? Where's my face? Okay, yay, face, yay. He didn't even say anything. I don't know why I wasted our time. I don't know. It was just kind of fun. It's kind of fun to do that. Do I look like I'm having fun? Look at my face. Do I look like I'm having fun? So much fun. Okay. Let's see what else we got. I kind of like this black around my eyes. I don't know. It adds something, doesn't it? It adds something. Don't you think? I like it. Kind of. Yeah, I know they're all corrupt. I do know about that. I know, Drizella. I'm sorry, Drizella. Forgive me. I already apologized, though, Drizella. You can't be mad at me. It just makes me look really depressed. Well, then at least it's accurate, Soup Cheese. That's fair. I do look really depressed. I probably shouldn't be wearing it. Okay. Right. Okay. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, outer signal. Thank you. You should all take a how dare you, Luke? You said that just to annoy me, didn't you, Luke? How dare you compare me to JD Vance? I do need a ukulele, skittish kitten. I do. Okay. All right. Okay, folks. Hello. So let me just flip here. If you like my content, you can subscribe you can become a member for as little as 99 cents a month, as little as 99 cents a month, or you could also go over to Twitch. You could go over to Twitch and subscribe using Amazon Prime and send me money for free, which would be lovely, or subscribe regularly. And if you do subscribe here on YouTube, you get access to a bunch of cute little member-only emojis, and you get a cute little jester hat next to your name, which will make your life just so much better in every imaginable way. And so please do, if you want to support me, a little as 99 cents a month. If you're on Twitch, please follow. Please follow if you're on Twitch, and please follow if you're watching on YouTube too. Appreciate it. If you do follow on YouTube, you'll be able to comment. And I think after like 5 minutes or so, you'll be able to make a comment. I try to respond to all comments. Sometimes I'm not able to because there's a lot of comments that come through. But most of the time I try to respond to them. Okay. What else? Oh yes, if we get every super chat we get now, we'll add more minutes to the amount of time I'm streaming. At the moment, if I get to right now, I'm going to stream till 4, and then every dollar we get after this will go till I'll go another minute after 4. Okay, we're good. Okay, I'm done self-promoting. By the way, folks, please join our Discord if you haven't already. We have a very fast-growing community on there. By the way, folks, we finally made it to 150. Oh, I'm so happy. We finally got to 150 subscribers. Now watch the whole thing collapse because that's that number, that upper limit of people in a community is like 150 before things start going crazy. Although it has to be active people, so maybe it will be fine for now. But let me quickly let me just make sure I send this to y'all. I'm going to put the Discord in here. Okay, the Discord in here. Here we go. All right, Discord. All right, here we go. Putting it in is pasted here. There you go. You all can use it. I just posted it. You're right. I could do. Hey, you know what, Luke? Maybe I will. If there's any corporate person or right winger out there that wants to send me a shit ton of money, I'll gladly make a right wing shift. Okay, and if I do, I'll just sit here babbling like a lunatic about like chemtrails and stuff. Which would be basically what a right winger is. So I'm okay with that. I'll do it. Of course I won't do that. Okay. I won't do that. But okay. I've heard it's very profitable. I've heard it's very profitable. Okay. Did someone just did I just see someone become a member? Oh, someone did something. I don't know what happened. We did it. Thanks for all the support. Yay! Thank you. Whoever just subscribed. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Skittish Kitten. Someone else to subscribe? Did someone subscribe on Twitch? Am I going crazy here? Someone just subscribe. We just got 10 subscribers. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Skittish Kitten, for becoming a resistor. That gives us what? 2 more minutes? Yay. Okay. So you see, I'm energetic today, folks. I have a lot of drugs in my system, over the counter, because of the time. By the way, I also took my ADHD meds very early this morning, so they're kind of wearing off, and you can kind of tell because I actually have always thought it might be better. Oh, thank you, Soka. It might be better for me to not take my ADHD meds later because I feel like I'm more clownish when I'm not on them, and I'm funnier. I don't know. It might just be me. Who knows? Oh, no, I'm just thinking out loud. Okay, so let's see here what else we got here. Yeah, do take your meds. Do take your meds, okay? These are not these are meds that you don't have to take every day, okay? You should take your meds as prescribed, of course. All right, what are we gonna do? So let's just see what's on Discord. I'm gonna see if there's any reactions here we can do. I'll try to find something good. Oh, the shakers. Oh, that looks interesting. Ooh, okay. All right. Ooh, there's a lot of good things here. Oh, let's watch this one. Okay, so here we have, this is good. Yesterday, real fast. So, okay, I'll show this. This is just going to be a cool little thing. Oh my God, who sent this? I don't know. Who cares? No, it was Malzord. Thank you, Malzord. I'll look at other people's things too. So I'll put this up. I'll put it up on the screen. Don't worry. I'll put it up on the screen. Don't worry. My apologies. My apologies, Soup Cheese. Really, forgive me. Okay, all right. Let's watch this. So this is yesterday. We talked about Tenochtitlan, okay, which was the capital. We barely talked about it. We kind of talked about it, which was the capital of the Aztec Empire. As a matter of fact, when the Europeans got to Mesoamerica, it was the largest city they had ever seen. And it was a beautiful, amazingly engineered city that was in the middle of a lake. The only way you could get to this capital city was through a series of 3 causeways, which were connecting this island of a city to the mainland. And this apparently, sent from Malzord, is a flyover animation of what it might have looked like to see Tenochtitlan, which was a very cool city. So let's just take a look to see what it looks like. This looks like a quick and easy one. And then maybe I will. Then I'm going to watch Druzilla's because that looks good too. All right, so let's watch this. Let's just see it. Let's just see what it is. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that too loud? That sounds way too loud. Forgive me, Soup Cheese again. You at least have one ear that still works now, right? Ooh. Yep. Ooh, that's cool. Look at that shit, folks. And there, yeah, it was a lot of the roads and stuff were actually canals. There were roads and then there were canals, and you could go down these roads and shit. I mean, there was a. Okay, GDH. Look at that. Okay, that's cool. Oh my God, Mithril, you're not wrong. It kind of looks similar, doesn't it? We actually do know what the layout of the city was. Look at this. Probably made by aliens, right? That's what a lot of lunatics out there would say, is that these couldn't have been built by the Aztecs. It must have been aliens. I mean, I don't know. They probably do say that, right? Oh, here come the conquistadors, just to ruin everything. Yeah, Dollywood, it was larger than Venice. Yeah, it was one of the largest cities in the world. It was definitely larger than most of the cities that these Europeans had seen in Europe at the time. Definitely larger than most of the cities that Europeans had seen. All right, that was fantastic. Okay, also cleaner, with like access to fresh water because it was in the middle of a lake. Amazing. Anyway, thank you very much, Malzord. Super interesting. Let's watch now. Druzilla something. Right, Druzilla. Yeah. Right, Druzilla. Let us. There were lots of cities in the New World. There was also something called Mound City. Has anyone ever heard of Mound City? A lot of people don't know about these things because we don't care about the natives apparently. Mound City. There was a massive city in was it Mississippi? Made by the natives. Yeah, of course, Soup Cheese, right? Yeah. Oh, exactly, Doug, and Soup Cheese. Like, literally, that's where the myth comes from, the myth of aliens. It comes from these racist ideas that people of color couldn't create these structures. Thank you very much, Luke. The Mississippi Delta. So I'll show you. It looked something like this. It's no longer there, but we know basically what it looked like. It was a massive city made of earth. Well, where is it? No, Cahokia. I'm sorry. I want Cahokia, which was okay. Here it is. Oh, this is good. This is good. It looks something like this. It doesn't exist anymore, but we do have a lot of remnants of it. Cahokia. Okay, we have this part of it. Oop. Which is still there. It's massive, that mound. Look at that car down. That's a car. It was huge. The central complex. Now let's see what the map of it would have looked like. So it's in. So this is on the St. Louis River, the Mississippi. Okay, near St. Louis. It would look like that. Where is it? Yep, city made of earth, 100%, Drusilla. And people don't know. Like a lot of people don't know about it because there it is. Look at that. Look at that. You can see tons of mounds. Okay, all those structures are a combination of wood and earth. It was huge civilization by the mound building people, by the Mississippian culture, I believe they were. I can't remember which group of natives did it, but very cool, right? Very cool. We don't talk about these things, but there were big cities in the New World. Pretty near where I live are also the giant mound structures like the Serpent Mound and things like that, which they built. Have I shown you guys the Serpent Mound? And of course, the Europeans came along and ruined a lot of that. Okay. The Serpent Mound, I live not that far from this. If you see it from the air. Oh, wait, that's a drawing of it. And nothing drives me more crazy than when people say, oh, it's just a mound of dirt. No. You try building that. Okay. You try building that by yourself without mathematics and things like that they had to use to build them. Okay. I actually kind of got into a fight with someone on a plane because of it. That's not a good picture. There was someone next to me who was literally was like, I forget. I was reading a book about it, and they said, "Well, isn't it just a pile of dirt? Look at that. It's a giant serpent. Isn't that cool?" Okay. And of course, I responded, well, I basically said, well, does that mean that a house, like a stone house, is just a pile of rocks? Anyway, that's so cool, Soup Cheese. Isn't that amazing? Anyway, okay, I'm getting off track here. So the natives built some really cool things, right? Really cool things. All right. And I already showed you all this, didn't I? I showed you all this thing. This is an axe head, a stone axe head that my father found because we live near a lot of where there were old Indian mounds. That's what they're called, Indian mounds. Okay, but you can see my dad found an axe head. This is probably from the Neolithic era. Anyway, not a lot of cool stuff. Anyway, so going back now to this here, we got. I'm going to go to this, which was sent to me by Drusilla.
There's a teacher.
Oh, this looks good, Drusilla. I am excited for this crap. I am excited for it. Okay. All right. Let's do it, shall we? Of course. So here we got, this is Dr. Rashad Ritchie. This video is called Teacher's Unhinged Rant About Why Women I did not expect the rest of that statement. Okay. All right. I think, you know what's funny about this? So it says teachers unhinged rant about why women should not be educated. How can you work in education and believe that? The majority of teachers are women. Yeah. And on top of that, you have a half of your class will likely be girls. I feel like you shouldn't be allowed to teach. Okay, let's just see. Let's see what Rashad Ritchie says about this.
Decided to be, biased, misogynistic, adversarial to women. But somebody stood up. Here it is.
So Erasmus, he helped promote the education of women. Don't you think that was the worst thing ever to happen when we started?
Oh my God. Okay. Oh my God. Did you hear that? Erasmus taught about the education of women. Okay. And then he said that's the worst thing that ever happened. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Educate women. What you guys think?
Hey, props to this kid here who is taking footage of it.
Good or bad to educate women? Good.
The teacher asked if my son if he thought it was good or bad to educate women. Okay.
Good. Why?
Why?
Yeah.
if this boy was in my class, he wouldn't be because I would never say anything like that, but he would get like all these bonus points. I'd be like, okay, you get an A on the next test for doing something good, for actually thinking critically.
Come on, still something tonight. Was it good or bad to educate women?
Bad.
Why?
Because we don't need them. I don't know.
Because we don't need them. Oh my God. Mithril, you need The Modern Antiquarian by Julian Cope. It is a beautiful book. That is amazing. By the way, Mithril, at some point I want to go to the UK. I haven't seen Stonehenge yet, and I haven't seen a lot of the ancient sites. I really want to go. Skittish Kitten, and they wonder why 40% of women want to leave the country and some are not having kids. Right? Shocking, Skittish Kitten, especially when you think about also the economy and how expensive it is to raise kids. We're not helping women with that either. Rolling back protections for women. Okay.
And women are not supposed to know no more than we let them know.
Yeah.
We let them?
Don't you feel the same way, Harlow? I don't. You don't?
What's wrong with him?
Are you crazy?
But you let women know too much, then they'll boss you around.
No, because it takes two to tango. A man can't make 2 babies. So
many producers about.
Oh my God, this is horrific. I can't. I love these kids though. They are, a lot of them are standing up for it. And the one kid that was laughing, you could tell. You can tell that one of the kids was laughing and feels really uncomfortable and was kind of repeating the teacher because for the sake of not causing conflict. But I'm sure some of them agree. But you know,
so, I don't want my wife to know nothing.
It's about control. He's like being blunt about it. He's like, I want to control the woman, right? I want to be in control of her. Damn, we done it. Meowzord. I'm not going to say that out loud, but that's hilarious, Meowzord. Okay. He sounds like one of those people from that video. That sounds like one of the people from that video from West Virginia we watched, Meowzord. Okay.
You cheating on her? You cheating on her? You cheating on her?
No, I don't want to know nothing. I don't want to know just very little. So I can control a paycheck, tell when to eat, sleep.
Oh my God.
Now that's personal. But as a teacher, I have to tell y'all that women are entitled to the same education.
I can't. But as a teacher, I have to tell you all that women are entitled to the same education. Jesus Christ. Okay.
I actually have more video. I know he sounds like Uncle Ruckus, and you thought it wasn't that.
Ah, that's funny. Do you all know who Uncle Ruckus is? Who here knows who Uncle Ruckus is? Some of you may not know. I didn't. That's hilarious, Meowzord, right? He does sound like Uncle Ruckus. So this is a character from that's. How do I say this? It's from it's from the show called The Boondocks, and Uncle Ruckus is like a well-known sort of Black Americans. It's like a show that's really a lot of Black Americans watch. Okay, it's really good for everyone. But there's this character called Uncle Ruckus who's like this really anti-Black, racist Black man, who's like constantly praising white people and says that they're superior and stuff, and that Black people are inferior and they should bow to white people and stuff. And there are people like that in the world, by the way. And that guy sounds like Uncle Ruckus. You know what? If we get done with this, I'll try to show you a video, an appropriate video of him. But bye, Dolly Boy.
It's a nail skit, but it is not. He's a school teacher. He's actually teaching children. And one young man decided to record the insanity that he's being taught. So the mother of the child recording would post an update. Here it is.
Okay, so yes, I did just leave the meeting with the principal of Lovejoy High School. His name is, I got his card right here. His name is Kevin Griffin, Dr. Kevin Griffin. Shout out to him. You know, Dr. Griffin was very down to earth. The first thing he said is, yes, I seen the video and it is not good. Like they know, you know. He got a call from the superintendent from the board early this morning. So he's going to do his investigation, and his investigation entails calling all the students that were in the class in that moment down to get their viewpoint and to, you know, get how they felt about it. So no, this was not a lesson plan. This was not an exercise to get gears grinding and their brain working. No, this is how this man personally thinks. My son had been hearing these things from this man since the beginning of the school year and never caught it on camera, never, but this time he was fed up, So I appreciate the principal looking at Noah and saying, hey, you did the right thing. With all of that, the superintendent and the school board will make a very intelligent decision, not just based on my son's experience, but based on all the students, the whole class experience, So I pretty much know what's going to happen, and I'm grateful that these men are stepping up.
All these people are amazing. You're right, Outer Signal. I think that is partially it. It is kind of like a death throw for the misogynist. At least, well, they do seem to be getting more political power, but I see what you mean, Outer Signal.
There you go. The student was supported by the principal for dynamic leadership. The mother had a direct meeting. It seems like others were there.
You're right, Meowzord.
Dealt with it precisely, did not hide behind it.
Guys, like when I was a teacher, you all know, right? I'm a socialist, but it would never cross my mind for a second to try and make my students socialists, right? Which to me is an innocent ideology in terms of it's actually good for people, but that's beside the point, right? It's not my job to make them believe something just because I believe it. There is a curriculum. The people of the United States, in theory, decide what I teach. Now, obviously, we all know I'm oversimplifying because a lot of that curriculum is awful. But I can get around that. But I don't know how he's still hired if he's teaching stuff that is not in the curriculum, that is promoting stuff like that. If I were to have gotten in front of my classroom and been like, capitalism is evil, we should take the means of production and seize it for the working class. What? I would not be there very long. Yeah. I don't anyway. Okay.
Did not pretend as if they're going to do something, but do nothing.
It does.
And
totally,
she appreciates how this principal supported her son.
Now, Mauser said society has a problem with restraint. Now, I would say there are right, skittish, kitten, insane. You could take what Mauser said in two ways. It is just making me think. That's why I'm saying this. Society has a problem with restraint. Yes, two things. One, it has a problem with that a lot of people don't know how to show restraint. And then also it has a problem with us needing to show too much restraint. Would I like to teach my students things like socialism and things like that? Yeah. And in a lot of ways, I think it'd be good for them to know more about that and to be better for me to teach them more ways to liberate themselves, which you all know I did to the best of my ability. But so we need, in some cases, we need less restraint, and in other cases, we need more restraint, right? Okay.
I'm familiar with Lovejoy. It's in Georgia. I have been a keynote speaker inside of that school system. Put it up full mass. A student from Lovejoy High, pictured on the left, recorded a teacher, not pictured. Okay, not pictured. I'm going to tell you who this is in a moment.
Look at this guy. Look at this bow tie that this principal has. Yeah, this is some drip. Everything. Yeah. Anyway,
but that student is the hero, according to the mother, pictured in the center of the student. School officials are investigating. The mother would go on to praise the principal. The principal is Dr. Kevin L. Griffin. We applaud good leadership. Thank you, dear brother, for representing so well on how we address the matter, and she applauds his efforts too. Senator, thoughts?
Yeah, no, definitely that's that student for his quick thinking to capture this and expose this teacher. This is not the first time that this teacher has went on a rant similar to this, and probably even worse, Doc, that students over the years have had to be exposed to. I'm just shocked that this is the first time this teacher is being caught talking to students in this manner. But thank God for that student quick thinking. Thank God for the principal not dismissing this. And
I think this is great. Yeah, thank you for showing us that, Drusilla. But you're totally right, Meows. Like, I know. And that's one of the issues. So Meowser's on fire today. Meowser says, in the wise words of Bo Burnham, can any single person shut the F up about any single thing for an hour? There have been studies that show that people are losing their ability to regulate their behavior. I'm not joking. People are losing their ability to not blurt out whatever they want to say. Attention spans are dropping drastically. It's a big issue. Like, people need to, especially when you're a public figure. I think we've seen it with a lot of public figures. There are times and places to say things, and a lot, especially in a professional setting. If you're like a teacher, you know what? Fine, believe what you want, but you better not be teaching your students. You better keep it to yourself. If you, don't believe in evolution, for example, or you think women shouldn't be able to vote, okay, just, calm down, keep it to yourself. That is not your job to spew that. And it's becoming harder and harder to find people in this society that are able to keep their mouths shut about the loony things they believe. Okay. Right. So I agree, Skittish. As a matter of funny you say that, Skittish. I would teach my students meditation. We would do these almost like mindfulness exercises. I wouldn't say it to them because they wouldn't think that it was cool. Okay. No, you're right, Outer Signal. Well, Outer Signal, I lost my job because I couldn't keep my mouth shut about something. So this is where I'm saying, there needs to be more restraint in some things and less restraint in other things, okay? And a lot of times that restraint that is bad comes from the state, but some of that restraint from the state is not a bad thing. To be honest with you, you shouldn't be teaching your students. The curriculum has things in it that are true. There are other things in the curriculum that are kind of misleading. And anyway, so yeah. So it depends. But anyway, okay, it's just a mess. I know, Luke. I have a feeling. Yeah, I know. We'll see about that, Luke. We'll see about that. Okay. So there might even be. I might have a couple of my students even in here. I have a sneaking suspicion of one or two people might be former students of mine. But anyway, okay. So I'm gonna put my face back up here. Where did I put my face? Okay. All right. All right, you guys. So we have I don't know. So here's the thing, Outer Signal. The school that this happened at was a religious school. And I suspect that some of these students might have been, after all that happened, let's put it that way, some of them may have been, other teachers may have reframed what I'd said to sort of counteract any effects of it, if you know what I mean. As in, I don't know. I'm concerned they might have ended up demonizing my words. I mean, I've not experienced any of that, but I would doubt that. Regardless, my words about, and by the way, I didn't say anything to my students about Israel. I just said it online. It was one of my videos where I came out and said that Israel was doing a genocide. But anyway, I don't know, but maybe they will. Okay, come out with positive things. Yeah, I'm doing a course about preventing. That's true, Mithril. Yeah, that's so interesting. Anyway, I don't want. I'm talking about myself, but anyway. So yeah, we. That's why I'm doing this now, folks. I'm doing this full time because I ain't teaching right now. And another thing, folks, is it's not exactly easy to teach right now, especially as a gay man. Okay, and it's gotten harder and harder and harder. One of the reasons I was working at a private school was because I was working at a public school previously, and that got harder and harder and harder because the poverty out there, the state coming in and changing curriculums and stuff, the lack of funds, it was exhausting. Was it a bit selfish of me to work somewhere else? Kind of, but I had to keep my sanity. And so there are also other personal things, but But now I'm like, I don't know if I love teaching, but I don't know if I'd want to go back to it right now, which is why I'm trying to do this. But anyway, okay. So at least not in Ohio. Maybe I move to a different state because teaching in Ohio are not fun. By the way, there is also a massive exodus of teachers from places like Florida. Teachers are literally fleeing the state to go to other states to teach. Same thing in Ohio. Some states, there are a bunch of teachers leaving. Oh, thank you, Skittish Kitten. Thank you very much. And sometimes, by the way, Skittish Kitten, my dad was a teacher too, and sometimes he's on our streams. So we will eventually we'll figure it out. I could come to Washington, Luke. I could maybe teach in some of those rural communities, Luke. I'm sure there'd be some people there who would love my anti-fascist message. But yeah, I do like I'll come see you. I'll come see you in Washington sometime, Luke. Don't worry, okay. Anyway, but right now I'm loving doing this. I'm sorry, folks. I know I'm rambling right now. We're actually past the time I said I would do this till. But I could Montana, right? But regardless, well, that's the point, Matt Saigai. I would love to be thrown in there. Yeah, soup cheese, especially as a gay man. You're right, Luke. They do. I actually taught in Massachusetts, and they paid teachers great. So, like blue states do it pretty well. As a matter of fact, Massachusetts, they have some issues, but they're also in Massachusetts, they require all their teachers get a certification in teaching English in the classroom, so that teachers can also teach students who don't speak English as a first language. All their teachers are required to be certified in something called sheltered English immersion, teaching English through the regular curriculum. It is brilliant and it works really well. And I wish everyone across the country, now it is more of a burden on teachers, but they pay them really well. We need teachers all across the country to be trained in how to teach English through their regular curriculum. That's fair, Outer Signal. That is fair. That is fair. I definitely feel better that I'm not there anymore. Like I'm much happier, even though I'm not making like nearly as much money as I was. Well, I don't want to get into that, but I'm much happier not having to live in that environment. I mean, this was a school that would have literally had members of the IDF. I'm not joking. Come into the school and speak to students. About Israel and about the struggle of Israel. And okay, and I almost lost my mind. I would never go to any of these events, and no one ever said anything to me. Anyway, yeah, that's that guy. So yeah, okay, I know. It was gross. It was very gross. And I just couldn't keep my mouth shut. Okay. Now, all right. Did I fight them? If you mean, Luke, did I try to push back? Yes, but there were the school ideologically was very much into Israel. Let's put it that way. Very, 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 very much into Israel. And there were other teachers too that were, including, by the way, a Jewish teacher that I was really close friends with who hated it. And we would kind of secretly work to try and push back against these narratives. But there's only so much you can do. And I was explicitly told after one incident that I was not to speak about it. I'm a social studies teacher, folks, a social studies teacher. And I was explicitly told you're not to talk about Israel. Leave that to the theology class. They can talk about Israel in the theology class. You can't talk about Israel in your social studies class, which really made me lose my mind. And eventually I snapped. I do still somewhat feel guilt. Yeah, in your group. I do occasionally feel guilty, though, folks, because I was there for a while and I knew this stuff was going on. Of course, I had economic reasons to stay. They were paying me pretty well, and I also kind of justified it as in like I can push back. And I did. Like, guys, a lot of the lessons I did were like humanizing others. What does a genocide look like? And I would work it into the curriculum. What does it mean when you dehumanize? What does dehumanization look like in history? Oh, what did the Nazis do to the Jewish folks? Okay, what did it look like? So I would try to do things to sort of get around it. But yeah, anyway, eventually I cracked and I broke the rules and talked about it online. Okay. Okay. All right. So trying to see here. And the reason, folks, I don't talk about like the religion of the school or anything is because I don't want anyone at that school to experience backlash because the students don't deserve the backlash. There were other teachers there that were fine, but anyway. I once, by the way, I'm sorry, I know I'm kind of on a rant now. It got really bad, folks. I once walked by this two things. One, I once heard a theology teacher basically saying that it's morally acceptable to he said cleanse the Arabs from the Middle East. It would be morally acceptable to do that. And then I heard another one say that like 98% of Muslims are violent, horrible extremists. And I actually directly addressed these people and went to them and said, "What you said is insane. What are you doing?" And they kind of backpedaled. Meowzord, weirdly enough, Meowzord, I know for a fact that they had been outside of Ohio. Some of these folks were pretty well educated, but they were educated in religion. Some of them were kind of wealthy too, but they were educated in religion and very ideological. Yeah, Luke. Anyway, so really gross. Thank you very much, Matt Saigai. Thank you very much. I am still alive, Dubois. I'm kind of just rambling on here. Didn't take my meds, so I'm kind of. I think yeah, thank you, Matt. So they were indoctrinated. That's a much way better put. I think I showed you all I have a pamphlet. Some of you have seen this. Let me get it real fast. Give me 1 second. I can't find it at the moment. I will find it and show it to you guys another time. They would pass out these basically pieces of Israeli propaganda. And I've shown it on stream before, and I kept one just so you guys could see the kind of crap they were trying to teach the students. But is that tiki mask significant? The one back here, Malzord, that one back there. I'll show it to you guys. I'll show you. 1 second. So, this is a tiki god from, it was made by some of the native Hawaiian peoples. Weirdly enough, he looks angry. I can't remember his name. It was actually carved by the native Hawaiians. But this is the tiki god of love. He's actually laughing. He's kind of a happy guy, but this is a tiki god, right? Isn't that cool? I have a lot of weird shit. I can show you something else. I actually forgot to show you. Why not? I'll stay on stream a little longer. Give me a second. So this is my tiki god. All these have a story. I actually got to go. I'll show you a picture. There's a refuge. It is a holy site in Hawaii. I'll show you. Holy site. Holy site, Hawaii. What is it called? And it is honestly, so you all know I am not a religious person, but there are certain places that just feel spiritual. It's not because there's like some, in my opinion, it's not because there's like some energy there or something. Okay. Well, I'm taking an etic perspective there, but they're just very calm places that are isolated and people are quiet there and it just feels spiritual. I'll if I can find an image here, this is the one I went to. What is it called? They're very cool, and there's a bunch of tiki gods there, tiki statues. There it is. Visit. Yay! Thank you, Diego. What is it called? Puona. I can never pronounce it. And I highly recommend if anyone has a chance to go to Hawaii. I got to basically go for free because just because airline messed up one of my flights once, so they gave me free tickets. So I was able to fly there very inexpensively. I did, Meowsword, I did. Ah, shit. I'm sorry, this is taking a moment. Copy. Paste. Oh, there it is. So beautiful. Okay. Here, I'll show you. So here is, I can't remember, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, forgive me. But if you look closely here, it's some of these tiki gods. It's beautiful. This place is beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. And if you can actually, it looks like I can actually move around this screen. I'm going to make it big so you can see. So you see here, it's like it's right on the beach. I'll show you again. Look at all that. And then there's like a little temple here, a little hatch roof temple. It's just beautiful with a bunch of tiki gods, very spiritual place. So I got it near there. Okay. And it is gorgeous. Oops, my face isn't up there. So that's that tiki god. Okay. I also I forgot to show you earlier, guys. I'll put my face back up. When we were talking about ancient Egypt earlier, I got this guy. Now, this guy is a reproduction because it would be illegal. Obviously, I'm glad it's not a real thing because that would probably have been looting. This is a reproduction of an ancient Egyptian pharaoh head from I think it's in the British Museum. I'm not sure. But I have a bunch of weird crap. You all know this by now. I have a bunch of weird crap. So speaking of ancient Egypt, you can see here, that is what this is. Remember how I said that in the creation, the creator God, one of his eyes left his body to go search for his son and daughter? That's what this symbolizes, this little snake. Anyway. So I got that. I got a bunch of random shit. Anything else? But yeah. Okay. Thank you, Outer Signal. I guess I am Shia LaBeouf. I did not work for the British Museum. Don't worry, I did not work for the British Museum. I think that head, like the real version, is in the British Museum. Mithril, when my dad died, a friend in Hawaii planted a sacred tree there for his. Oh, that is amazing, Mithril. That is really cool. That's a beautiful place to have it too. Okay. I also have. I got some other. I have a bunch of random weird crap in here. Let me show you one more thing. One last thing. So this thing is I'm actually not sure. I can't quite remember. I think it's Shiva. You see it's kind of oxidating here. I think it's Shiva. I can't quite remember. I think these are pretty common actually, but I just thought it looked cool. Is that what it is? Okay. Yeah. These, like, it's not like this. The dance. Exactly. I thought so. It's the dancing form of Shiva. These things are actually pretty common, but I had a friend of mine who went to India, and was doing some research there and brought this back for me, which I really appreciated. I thought it was super cool. just because it's not something I see all the time. There is actually a Hindu temple not that far from where I live, but I've never been in there. I really want to go sometime just to see. But I don't want to intrude. But anyway, so here's Shiva. All right. Okay. Maybe I'll show you guys some other stuff some other time. Okay. All right, you guys. So I have been streaming now for longer than I said I would. Thank you, everyone who contributed. I am not going to be doing a. I know, Matt Saga. That is partially why I want to go. I want to get that free food because I'm selfish. Okay. Okay. No. But I want to. I'm going to go now. Thank you, everyone who has donated today. I think I've been on for over 2 hours. Have I not? I think I have. I'm just going to double check here to make sure I'm not. Yeah, I have. Okay. Oh, I know, Mithril. I know. Okay. So I'm going to go now, folks. I am not going to do an after dark stream tonight because I'm still feeling kind of ill. I know I may seem like I'm getting a bit better, but I am a bit ill. So I'll stream again tomorrow, though, of course. Okay. Thank you, Matt Saiga. I will, Matt Saiga. And I really appreciate all of you. And on that note, folks, you all have a good rest of your day. Everyone ready for what I'm going to say? You all know what I'm about to say. First of all, free Palestine. Free Palestine. Second of all, never stop resisting. The easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves. The easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves, and that includes when you watch me. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. Don't get caught in an information silo because the easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves. We are living in a fascist moment in this country, not only in this country, but in other countries around the world. Fascism thrives in an environment where people have lost faith in their democratic institutions, so they turn to more radical ends of the political spectrum. Okay. In order to combat this, we need some major reforms and changes in this country. We need major reforms. You cannot stand in the center. If you stand in the center, the fascists will walk all over you. We also can't have weak Democrats who refuse to resist, which is driving me insane, okay? They're letting the fascists win, all right? Trying to be direct here now, okay? Do not be a slug. Don't let the fascists walk all over you, okay? On the wall behind me is a sword. The name of that sword is Chainbreaker. Chainbreaker is thought to have been responsible for the death of 7 slave owners. It's been passed down in my family for many years. Why do I have it back there? I have it back there to remind all of you that our ancestors made some major sacrifices for some of the things we have today. Some of the things we have today, that include some of the rights we have, some of the civil liberties, some of the women, like the right to vote, things like that. Especially, some of those things are being overturned. We cannot let our ancestors' sacrifice go to waste. Please, please, please do not let their sacrifice go to waste. And always, always, always fight for a better future. And on that note, folks, I love you all very much. I'll try to get better. Everyone who's sick, please take care of yourselves. I shall see you. I love that skittish kitten. I love that. Keep fighting, skittish kitten. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.